allegiance. Dear Lord, thank you for bringing us together today to continue discussions on county budget for this upcoming year. We ask for your divine guidance in making decisions that we may not completely understand the impact of or the future impact. Just give us that supernatural wisdom that we need and bless this meeting. We turn it over to you. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Tell you what, we can rearrange here and we'll postpone items A, B, C discussion. Let's begin with what makes more sense, to begin back with the maintenance barn discussion, or why don't we start with item D, maintenance barn discussion. And as I recall, or just as a summary, and as I recall, we were talking about ways to possibly make our maintenance barn more effective. Some of the issues that were discussed was farming out certain responsibilities such as maintenance, general maintenance of sheriff vehicles to a third party, thus freeing up maintenance barn personnel to work on county vehicles and equipment. Why don't we start with that concept, and if there's anything else there that ties into this. Again, we'd seen a fairly sizable request from Terry for a pay increase, and whether or not that's warranted, you all know more about that than I do. Is any additional manpower needed there? But what struck me in that discussion was the fact apparently that we're not getting to repairs of critical county equipment in a timely fashion. And I don't know all the reasons as to why that is, but what can we do about that?
Well, let me start out by saying our part-time help give us 2 weeks notice he's quitting this.
Who's the part-time help?
Dean Weeks.
Dean Weeks, yeah.
Dean Weeks, okay.
We hired him about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that.
And he's having a back problem.
Okay.
And I think he may have to have surgery or something on his back. He was concerned about that when he first started.
Nothing caused by any injury or anything, just...
No,
okay.
It was been a pre-existing condition.
Okay. Well, in light of that, what's your immediate fix for that situation?
I don't know. We tried to advertise for temporary help again. I don't think we did very good the first round. Ultimately, I think we probably need to hire another full-time mechanic. One of my guys is off today because it was just John Young. He's been working in the shop just about full-time for us for the last month, trying to keep all our equipment going, and he's having problems with his feet and knees. So he took off today just to rest his feet and knees.
Would that be a long-term need, or we just have a particularly old set of equipment right now that's needing a lot of attention that may get better with some of this new equipment? You know, help me kind of understand the bigger picture.
Well, we've got a lot of old equipment, even with what we're buying now. Some of it's even older equipment, so I think the need's going to be there. I don't know how much it'll drop off this winter. You know, I haven't been through a winter with the county yet, so I don't know how much actual maintenance work drops off during the winter. based on the last 4 months that I've been here, I would say you need 2 full-time mechanics in the shop just to keep up.
Could any of that be alleviated by farming out some work to a third party such as Billy Craig or another one of the repair shops?
I think some of the simpler stuff you could farm out, and it would give you could give Terry more time to work on some of our stuff. But I don't know what issues we get into farming out, like oil changes, routine maintenance on sheriff's vehicles.
What issues are you referring to?
Well, I think Jimmy had brought up about, the equipment that's in the sheriff's car. Anybody messing with that equipment.
Dana did.
Dana brought it up.
Yeah.
And I don't know what kind of issues are involved in that.
Issues with this. I'm lost. What you? Issues with
He's
it.
saying if there was sensitive equipment, in these sheriff's vehicles, would the sheriff feel comfortable letting a third party, like a Billy Craig or a TNT, in one of these local shops, work on their vehicles while it's got all that expensive, sensitive equipment in there? I hadn't thought about that.
I don't know how big of an issue that is, and I don't know what the city does.
I can tell you right now, we can sit here and pussyfoot around, but the problem, not another mechanic. You can't keep hiring people when your management is not there. Our absence is management, and they're getting the work done. And I can tell you that mechanic, I'm not even there. I'm no part of, probably left because of this thing. We tried to hire a guy back, Philip and I, the mechanic. He stayed there, worked good. Stuff worked good. When he worked on something, it was done. The mechanic we got now told him, no, we're not going to hire him. Philip and I thought he was going to come back and help us out when we didn't get the part-timer after Ricky retired. That guy called me and he said, Dennis, and he said, well, I wouldn't work with that SOB for nothing. So you got a problem. If this guy's leaving, I wouldn't be surprised if that wasn't a problem. So I think there's our real problem, and nobody's got, I don't know, maybe I'm the only one that will say it, but I'll certainly tell you, I'm telling you, the time he spends on the telephone, talking on the phone, he's got an earpiece, and you're talking to him, and he'll be talking to somebody else, and you think he's listening to you. They hang out at the shop all the time. Nobody says a word. I kept waiting on Philip Hinton. I thought he was in charge of it. I'm telling you, we got a problem. It's management. It's not all, us spending money, throwing money at bad management is really bad business. And I don't know about government, but I see it all the time. And you'd go broke if you had a business. And you do it, and your thinking was that way, to farm it out or give it away. I think is wrong. I think we need management. You need some management there. I don't know where it's going to come from. You or whoever you delegate to do that or hire to do it, but it's management. It's not adding people. It's just getting people to do what they get paid to do.
So one mechanic's enough to keep up with that?
No, I think you're going to have some part-time help or in the seasonal help. From my observation, and I really don't know that, but I'd hate to see that sheriff, that's probably one of the most efficient things that we do, is, change the tires, and it's a constant little things, you know what I mean, that take some time away from doing a major repair job. You're trying to work on a transmission or something, you got to stop and change tires on a sheriff's car or change oil and do the PM, preventive maintenance, because they get rid of them in a year. No, there's hardly any major repairs to the police cars. About 100,000 miles, I think, is about their max as far as. But I think that's where we need to approach it, from that way, not just spend more money. you're going to have some help. Ricky was the truck driver. That was what he did mostly, was change those. He took care of those sheriff's cars. They come in there, they rotate the tires, change the oil, and get them done. And so he was around there to do that. And it's not a full-time job, but it was by driving the truck and being a mechanic part-time, and as a maintenance guy part-time, I think was a position that was full-time. I think that driving the truck or the mechanic's helper in itself was not I don't think justifies a full-time employee, but where it was combined with one employee for those two positions, I think it was probably the right way to go. I don't think you can do it. Then in the summertime, some of that stuff, you're probably going to need another, like we used that guy, Danny or whatever his name was, for a couple of 3 summers. Bobby. In the peak time.
What's Bobby doing?
I don't know. We did never contact him. I actually forgot about him, but I do remember somebody saying that he's got to be led around and told what to do, but that may be more management problems, It's quite possible. As me being away from that shop where we were located, I didn't see all the trouble or what you were saying earlier. Now that I'm going by there every day, I'm kind of able to see a little bit of that. So.
Just the time that his family's there, his daughter or his wife is hanging around up there and he's standing out talking to them, or?
I don't know if they still come. I haven't witnessed that. Maybe wherever, this changed over that you might stop on that. But I haven't witnessed that.
You two office out there anyway.
That's correct. Yeah, we go by the
Yeah. The other thing that y'all were talking about was, I disagree with this guy's maybe not the one we need, but.
I didn't hear you. What?
I'm not disagreeing that we got the wrong person in the position, but I don't know if you get a good person in the position when Reaper's paying 27 and we're paying 20. So the way I've always done it in my business is I'll pay a higher salary, but I expect more out of you.
Right.
You're not the Reaper. Right. That's what y'all are going to have to do. Evaluate them. We're paying them $25 an hour. We all have this like this. We don't have to set a pay 27, but our benefits are probably a lot less than Reaper's benefits are. But you probably have to pay $25 to get you. You're in a competitive market. If you want one of these good mechanics, they're going where they get paid from.
Oh, my God.
You're going to have to pay a little more money to get it, but you're going to have to demand more out of when you do it.
And something we could probably look at, adding this new mechanic, and it may be where we could replace Terry by, just by having that new mechanic there teaching, and maybe try to replace him or something. I don't know. And don't worry, maybe where we actually need 2 mechanics. We used to have 2 full-time mechanics here at the building.
Roger, you had talked back when we were interviewing about possibly bringing in your own mechanic. Is that individual or individuals even a possibility?
Couldn't offer him enough to get him to come in.
Well, in light of these discussions about paying more money, let's throw away any limitations. Is it possible, and at what price?
I'm not sure what price. I'd have to go back and talk to him again. I think he's actually moved up higher in the organization now. So I don't know what it takes to get him now.
Oh my God, these guys have been hurt my career all the time. Not that much working with other than the sheriff. I don't know what you need. You're talking about a second full-time person.
There's a lot.
Well, what we were doing, of course, we were very fortunate to have Dennis. He's one of a kind. Baker, I thought, did a good job, but Dennis really did a great job. Ricky, most of the time when we were able to seal coat, we had him hauling gravel in the wintertime. When we had any piece of equipment that was broke down or something that we knew that was going to need attention, we would take it in the winter months and get it, and that's kind of how we worked it out. We'd always take our equipment up there in the wintertime and go through it. A lot of times you just need to go through it. And the regular maintenance program, and you know, in the summertime, the sheriff's department, when you got equipment up there, our equipment always stacked up because sheriff's department came first.
But you got a second part-time, that's his primary.
That's basically what he took care of.
You're doing hauling, some sort.
Yes.
So you maybe could use this micro replace a Ricky Joyner type position like I said. We don't need a full-time truck driver, we also don't need a full-time part-time person. Maybe you can combine those two and make a full-time job out of that, and do it both.
Many times, up until recently, we had Dennis would be sweeping the floor. You know what I mean? Dennis would be out there with his broom. I mean, in the wintertime. Now, of course, I think most precincts, I don't know about you, but my guys, we change our own oil and grease our own trucks every winter. We had a little sheet and we did the whole thing. They went up to the shop and done it. Rainy days, that was a rainy day job, and I'd hate to get rid of that, see that go, because they need something to do. They need to work, and they don't want to not work, and they.
Yeah, I think they need to be working on what
but they did change oil, grease them, get chase filters, whatever we needed to do all the time, and I think that I know that Precinct 3 did, and I'm sure Precinct 4 did, and Precinct 1, I don't know about Fields, or you.
Yeah, we did. We just didn't carry it up to the central barn.
Right, you had them, yeah.
Yeah,
but
we
that
had our barn out there and we just pulled everything inside.
And I really think I don't think we should try to get away from that. I think that's.
And that's fine. It's not the minor stuff that's really getting us, not the routine maintenance stuff, it's some of the major stuff. I mean,
well, that's
hydraulic cylinders out.
Sure, but let me just relate for Philip's benefit, because he and I spent a lot of time discussing this last year. When this happened, we had all these stuff in the shop. He had a dump truck. Precinct 2 been there, and they were telling him it might be weeks before they could get it out, or 2 weeks. So when we had this conversation with Dennis, and Dennis was going to come help us, and then Dennis called me that night because he talked to Terry to see what time or whatever it was, and he said, I wouldn't work with that SOB for any reason. You know what I mean?
Who said that? Terry said that, or Dennis?
Dennis said that.
After his conversation?
After his conversation. I said, well, what did he say, Dennis? He said, well, he told me, so we'll call, I don't need you up here. Well, I'm telling you, that stuff come out of the shop. Within a week, all those trucks that were going to take 3 weeks and 4 weeks, that shop was full of equipment, and outside trying to get in the shop, it come out. But it wasn't fixed, in my opinion. It was broke down again. And it was back in the shop again, and they're still fighting what he's talking about with all these people, and they're killing John Young up there, helping them, or working, and they're right, well, that's right, and it's just so I think that I don't know what to say. Those are the way I seen it happen, and I know that you did too, because we talked about it. That's
You think Terry's the wrong man, or Terry's okay, but he needs supervision?
That's exactly. He needs a manager. He needs somebody to manage his time. He needs somebody to.
Should we have to have a manager over a
maintenance
guy if you had the right maintenance guy?
I don't know, but he's not a bad mechanic. You know what I mean? He's yeah. I don't know how to explain it. He's not a. Yeah.
He's not an instructor driver. He has to be a self-starter. He has to get up every morning and say what he's going to work on. Project
I could work him as a, if I had a shop, I could work him as a mechanic. I mean, I would, he'd be an okay mechanic. I mean, Terry, if, you know, I think, but I just think he needs somebody to
Well, we
give
pretty
him.
much prioritize our work for him, put it that way, what we need to get work done to get out of shop work.
Has anybody pulled him into an office and said, hey, this is what we see you doing? If I was messing up my back, you're all pulling me in his office and saying, hey, we need to go over this. Has anybody told him, hey, your wife, your daughter, that you come up here, or
No.
trying to restructure him, like, you know, start one or whatever?
He spends a lot of time in there in the morning, so with that paper. No,
Pull him in and talk to him, to give him,
no. I haven't, and I avoided it because Philip Hinton seemed to be telling him what to do, and I didn't, you know, people needs one boss, and I didn't,
He was right there closest to it, and
Whether he was actually talking to him about what he was doing wrong, or what he was doing better, I doubt anybody would know that. So, I mean, step one is, you're he would talk to him, tell him what's expected of him. We'll be back 6 weeks, what they're doing.
One of our biggest problems, we can't keep it close enough. I don't know.
Well, at least you go out there every morning. I mean, I don't know, they know what they did.
I've seen his wife up there one time.
Yeah, well, you might not know that she's up there, what she's doing. If you told me, look today, it's gonna take 3 hours, it's a 3-hour job, this is a wire job, it's a 2-hour job, all these need to be done today. Tomorrow morning.
Well, that's right, I don't know how many sheriff's cars come in between.
Well, he can show you that. He can show you that, we can offer. But you need to evaluate how often that's happening.
Do they, I don't know, do they make appointments, or the sheriff's cars just show up?
They show up. But that
They
doesn't
show
mean-
up.
That doesn't mean the next morning he can't show them I changed that oil system.
let me, there's like 2 or 3 cars. If they come in there needing something done, they take one of those cars out there. In other words, it's not that the car, you know, needs flat or something that they're without a car. They just have to move all their guns and stuff over to another car. But there's always 2 or 3 cars out of the shop sitting there. They have
They
extras.
just rotate them in?
Yes.
They really don't have a lot of trouble out of those cars.
Right.
We replace every car every 4 years.
All right.
Every car out there that should go over the 4 years. I mean, we're replacing 4 cars a year.
Years ago, we tried to do something to kind of help out. And then I thought maybe, I said, well, you know, we have our guards down there and stuff, maybe we could use some prisoners. And then it dawned on me, what if that was the guy that arrested you and you're changing oil? I don't think I want that guy to work.
yeah, I don't think that'd be too good.
emailed the city, and Darlene said that their mechanic, all their maintenance is done in-house on all of their vehicles.
Yeah, they're up there too.
But they have one mechanic. I walked inside
Well-
the job and looked at it.
Must be over there.
Yeah, it's over on Washington over at the,
And then years ago, they housed it out. I think Billy Craig did all the sheriff's car, changed tires, gas and oil. We could do it cheaper in-house than we could farming it out.
I still think
We
that,
farm most of the routine stuff out, oil changes, tires.
I still think that we need somebody out there that is capable of doing the oil changes, tire rotations, anything like that, the minor stuff, everyday stuff. I say every day, it's not every day, but you know, that stuff that comes in like that can be handled by somebody that can do that. They may not be the best mechanic in the world, but it don't take a rocket scientist to change oil, change a tire, or anything like that. They could take all of that off Terry and leave him for the other.
Right, you could get somebody at $18 an ounce, $15 or something.
Yeah.
Oil. That kind of stuff. The other thing I was gonna ask is, the John guy, is it harder to find a road mechanic or harder to find a mechanic? If he's really a good mechanic,
He don't want to be the full-time.
Well,
Well, I'm talking about
that's one thing
putting him in
that
there part-time or something, if he'll do it.
he has trouble with his legs and knees when he's on concrete a lot. So, that's part of John's deal, and he don't really want to be, a full-time mechanic, because he does it at home on weekends and at night too.
He's probably one of my best employees. I really need him on the road. I really don't need him spending that much time in the shop. I need him on the road.
Well, is he doing most of the work than Terry is?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, he's doing a bunch, I'll tell you that. 'Cause at one time we had
I know he does a lot.
backhoes up there with either hydraulic lines, air conditioner, or cylinder going out, and John ended up fixing all of it.
Yeah.
Well,
We got a dump
well,
truck in there right now, his clutch hadn't been touched.
I talked to John the other day, and he's good.
Oh, yeah.
Better know he
He
is.
knows what he's doing, but let me tell you something, I think he'd rather be out there on the road.
He'd really be out on the road. I'd really have him out on the road.
I'm just telling you what I assumed.
Well,
He came across.
I can tell you, I've been to that shop. I've walked in that shop up there. John's over there working on a piece of precinct 4's equipment, and Terry over there standing up in the car out there talking to his wife with that phone in his ear. John was over there doing all the work by himself, just many times, 2 or 3 times that happened. Just no one was around him, but just him.
Well, that's what, when they'd go up there with something, I'd send them up there, and they had come back and said, well, we had to do it ourselves. Said he was doing such and such, or he was gone to lunch, or whatever. And that's what I'd always tell them, when y'all, when you get up there, if you can leave it and let him fix it, that's fine. I'd rather it be that and y'all back out here, but I said, if not, stay there and fix the thing.
It's kind of depending on what you need fixed at the time.
Yeah. When and how fast you need it.
I would say at a minimum, every morning, you need to see what he did the day before. Every employee, Baker Johnson, fills out a time sheet all day long. So that is why, if you got to say everything you worked on that day. And I don't have to be there. I can show up 5 minutes a day with the time sheet on it, do the job. If they say it's 4 hours to do something, I know it takes 2. If we got a problem, and if they had to stop working with a bunch of sheriff vehicles, they put that on. They tell you, we did 8 oil changes for the sheriff today. That's why I didn't get this and this done.
I've never had a shop that they didn't have a work order and broke down what they did to every truck. Those work order, their forms are cheap.
Yeah.
To buy them and fill them out as you go along, what you're doing.
There's going to be something, I understand you got to be able to place 5 minutes a day. He knows, you're looking at what he gets this for, that's going to make a difference.
I know.
Right now, nobody
I was just like you. I met with my hands every morning. We got things lined out, and we were gone. And I also tried to organize to do several jobs in one area, not going here and going there and going over there. And also rainy day. If it's raining, we're going to do this. If it's not, usually I would mention to the hands, if it's a chance of rain, we'll end up doing this. If it's raining, we'll end up doing this if it's dry. At the end of the afternoon, the last 5 to 10 minutes, we went over what was accomplished. And I know you do that too.
Right.
But you may have to, like up there, go up there after dinner and just say, okay, what have you got done from yesterday to today? I want a list of stuff that's been done.
Does he realize that, or did we actually put him under their umbrella? I mean, does he know that?
I don't know.
That's, I don't think he does either, from what I've seen in.
That's the way we'll do it. Somebody needs to be supervised.
When we asked about budget, he said, commissioners control the budget.
Well, I thought when we hired Roger, that was part of the job.
I didn't think it was, but.
Well, also, when you do job descriptions, I mean, we're trying to do other offices too, and got ready to terminate him, from everything that we learned with TAC, you've got to have that job description. You've got to sit him down and say, this is what we expect of you before you can even get any further.
The biggest thing is if he's doing something wrong, you can't just fire him without having a conversation with him, saying you're on probation or whatever terminology you want to use. That's strike one. If it happens again, you're subject to be terminated. I need you to sign this piece of paper that we had this conversation.
And Diane Simpson went over all of that when we were in that training back then. So we've got to do it that way so we can cover ourselves in any office, not just.
About 20 years ago, I went to Roger and I got his job description, Tech 1, Tech 2. And I tried at that time to get that implemented into the county. And I was the only one that wanted to do it.
I'm not as big on job descriptions because the problem I always have with job descriptions is they can say it's not my job.
Right.
And that doesn't mean this is all you do.
Well, that's in the state deal. I basically adopted what they had.
Yeah, you gotta put something in there.
But well, you got to do this, and other things.
Well, you don't say that, you have a job.
Yeah, but if you start out at Tech 1 or Tech 2,
Christian, you go do whatever I tell you to do. What kind of job description is that?
yeah, but there are certain things listed they have to be able to do to get that position.
This is an at-will state.
That's right.
They can't sue you to get the job back.
That's right.
They can sue you for discrimination. They can sue you for outside of those things. You're not considered. And you're going to get unemployment filed on you if you don't do it right.
Well, it seems like whoever's there, whether it's Terry or somebody with less skill or more skill, needs some kind of management.
Yes.
Maybe a lot of management. It may be very infrequent depending upon that person. So let's start there. Who's going to provide this spot with oversight so that they know that they're being judged, evaluated by someone else who's over their head?
It's going to be one of y'all. It's going to be right.
I mean, is there any reason why one of the commissioners wouldn't be an appropriate choice? Is that in conflict with what you're trying to do, Roger?
No, I don't think it'd be a conflict with what I'm trying to do, but if y'all put me over, I'm gonna have you working on my stuff, and I'll get more complaints from the sheriff. Because it's just gonna be hard not to tell you to work on my stuff.
Well, before we go and make this decision, what do you think would be best? Would it help you to have control over him, or would it help you for a commissioner to have control over him?
It would help me if the commissioner had control over him.
I'm not sure under those regulations that can happen. It says the the commissioner has to give the engineer direction, and he don't be going to the employees and supervising them. It's very.
That's the engineer supervising his employees. Right now, I don't know if Terry's one of my employees or not.
Good question. I don't know either.
Well, I thought he was when we hired you. I thought it was. All that's one thing. How could you not be your employee? How could he not be? The sheriff is a very minor part of that deal. That's not the problem.
It doesn't appear to me it's a minor part of the deal, and all my stuff waiting to be worked on.
That's what you're being told. I've never heard that before.
That's always been the sheriff's department coming in. They have priority. They go first.
And again,
Y'all even know how many oil changes they do a day? These cars are not old. I don't think we broke down on this.
Mainly
changing the oil.
What you're looking at is oil changes and oil filters. There's not going to be a lot of maintenance on those.
I don't know, they bring 3 of them at a time.
there's usually 2 or 3.
they got the extra ones and all down there. There's probably 20 cars down there behind the, in the yard behind the jail. So I don't know how often, you know, I don't know how many miles they put on a vehicle a week or a day or a week or whatever, so.
Yeah,
I understand that they change 4 cars, that rotates the cars every 4 years. And then if there's one, it's still good shape, they give it to the constables.
Well, I think you need to know how many sheriff's cars are average working on a day. And I think you would describe more than 2 on average. You're talking about 5 days a week, that'd be 10 cars a week. I don't think they're working on 10 cars a week. That's 4 cars a month.
This is what happens. They take a car out there, it may need the oil change, oil filters, plus the tires rotated or changed out. New tires, you're looking at.
Number one is, we're now saying drive, they're not out of cars. They drop that one off, they got another car that drives. It doesn't have to be fixed that day, it can be fixed within a day, 2 days. But I'm telling you, they're not working on 40 sheriff's cars a month.
I think they're on Terry about getting them turned around very quick. Not a day or two, but.
Well, now sometimes they go out there, because I've seen them out there waiting on the vehicle. They do go out there and wait sometimes, but how often that happens, I don't know.
I've seen it too, but the fact that somebody jumped on it, like if they pulled up there, they started rotating the tire, they didn't want to transfer all their stuff out, their personal stuff out of the car.
That's the whole thing, I think, our whole key to the deal is to try to keep them from having to move all their stuff out of the vehicle, and maybe him get on it and have it ready in 2 hours, or maybe him, you know, have to wait 2 days to get it. But he tries to, and I was told in the beginning that you know, sheriff's vehicles and all, sheriff's department always took priority, and that's why we got doing a lot of our own stuff. You know, I took I think it's one of the dump trucks up there, and he said, it may be sometime next week before I can get to it. And I said, next week? I said, I need that truck within the next day or 2. And he said, well, I've got, I think it was 3 or 4 sheriff's cars ahead of it. So I just went back and said, okay, we're going to fix this ourselves. And
my understanding right now, the sheriff's office is kind of upset with it, so he's not getting to turn around fast.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what Tim told me the other day.
So I don't know what's going on.
Tim said y'all aren't turning my cars around quick enough.
He just told me that in court, it was just in conversation that, you know, he's not getting his sheriff's cars out fast enough. And I just told him, I said, well, he's not working on our stuff, so he's got to be working on y'all's. So it was just a lot of headache. I mean, he wasn't upset, you know, that thing with us or anything. We was just in conversation. Yeah,
we got to fix that first.
Yeah.
Who'd you have the conversation with?
Sure.
Tim Ingram,
Today? Or
No.
what, another day?
last Thursday.
But, you know, it's not right for John to do all the work.
No.
Because he's drawing more money than what John is. Huh?
He's drawing more money than what John.
Right. And John's doing all the work.
Yeah, if nobody knows that information, we need to find it out. So let's deal with that first. I don't know how we can make decisions here on evaluating Terry until
I just,
takes control of him.
Amy, and asked her if she could find out how often he works on the sheriff cars, and Terry McDowell said 2 to 3 times a week. And he's working on sheriff.
But is he working 2 hours?
Yeah.
2 times a week?
yeah, does he?
Is he taking 4 hours to change an oil? You don't know if you don't have a time sheet on it today, you don't know anywhere to know what he's doing.
It's going to.
He does chase a lot of cars. He does research on the cars. So, I mean,
But that's not going to be a lot of sheriff's cars.
No.
Mostly ours.
Yeah.
Finding an air filter.
When he has to chase parts and all, that's, you know.
Well, today you can have a minimum wage kid chasing cars.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I'm not saying he's running around chasing them. I'm saying you have to find time. Yes.
But he does, if you take time out to run to Conroy's twice or three times, get something, and I've done this many a time, you go out there and get something, get back and it's the wrong part. You tell them what you need, you get out there and get the wrong part, you get back and you gotta go back out there, spend the time to get it. And you do that 2 or 3 times a day, and you've done killed 3 or 4 hours right there. So, but it's like Carl said, you can take, do what? Yeah.
I'm 16 years old. I changed the oil in all of them, I changed the water in the batteries, and I changed the bar. And that ain't me.
3.5.
$2 an hour.
3.5, huh?
But it was minimum wage. It was minimum wage.
3 meals a day and a half, bed, night, sleep on.
Sometimes you can hire somebody like that to do that. You know,
Absolutely.
You can be more efficient, but you can't even evaluate him until you know what he's working on.
Right.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, there's times too where you've got time, you've got tires, and you've got wheels. You mount those up and get them ready, and then when the sheriff's car comes in, all you do is rotate them, and there is time. There's always a supply of tires and wheels, and somebody needs to mount them sometimes, so he can mount tires. And I've seen Ricky over there mounting tires, and Dennis too, and Terry.
You don't have a supply of wheels, though.
You don't have a
Supply of tire, but you don't have extra wheels.
well, there's always some around there. Maybe we need to buy a couple.
I
So
don't know how many different ones he doesn't buy.
Well, the cars are the same.
Sheriff vehicles are gonna be the same, same wheels and tires.
Yes.
According to the Jeep
The other
or a
stuff is,
car.
it's Durango.
Well, they got some cars still open.
Yeah, they still got some cars, but, and it may be the same size. If they're not, if it's Chevrolet versus Dodge or something other like that, it may be a different wheel pattern, but,
16 or 17.
yeah, 15, 17, 19s, whatever, and,
But then a car runs different than a truck.
You mean
Most times the car is going to come in, he's going to take the tires off of the chain around.
yeah.
Have a set of wheels that are ready to go flat fire.
Maybe we just need to find a NASCAR team that
Well, wait a minute, we have, you think we have different sized tires on those sheriff's cars?
Well, you got car type.
you got cars, you got Durangos, they're gonna be
Well,
different.
you're gonna
Some-
have 2 now, Durango, that's only 2 cars we've got.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, they're
Well,
probably
yeah.
different sizes.
Yeah, they're
but it's not gonna be over, 2 or 3.
Just
different
2,
sizes. If
2
that,
sizes.
probably not over 2.
Well, we shouldn't buy different sized tires, we should keep them all the same. I mean, not Durango should have a tire and then the other one, but that's 2. Two.
If you change brand, we have to buy another set of wheels.
No, you can't do that. Wheels don't cost that much.
Who needs to manage this position? Y'all want to give this to Roger? One of you want to take it on? Sounds like we need to know what's going on up there a little better before we go and replace somebody or hire somebody else.
Well, I think it should be Rogers, should be responsible for it.
Well, the only reason that I think that is because they're out there every day. They see what's going on. We're not out there every day.
Right.
Well, none of us, I guess somebody could make a special trip to go out there every day, but, and I know Roger probably don't have time for it or don't want to do it either, but,
Go ahead.
Well, the one thing about it, y'all are at least out there every day checking on your own equipment. Assuming you're asking where we at on this, where we at on that. So, I mean, you're doing some of that already.
well, you got Christie?
Amy said that the sheriff is telling her that Terry always tries to get them to go to the border of the Dodge House.
Go what?
Is still working on, he's trying to get the sheriff department to take their vehicles to the border of the Dodge House.
Yeah.
To do what?
I guess whatever work that they need Terry to do, Terry and Kurt wants to go to the car dealership.
He mentioned that to me the other day, and I forgot about this issue.
Well, now, with all his computers and stuff, isn't that some of the things he's asking for? Because he
Yeah.
don't have the deal to plug in to check them.
Yes, it is. That's some of the programs and whatnot that he has asked for.
That he's asked for.
It will read some of that stuff and all that
Right.
he's.
So he's sending them there now, or he'd like to be able to send them there?
He's
The
sending
sheriff
them,
says that he has trouble getting him to do the work. He always wants them to go to the Ford or the Dodge House. Outsourcing.
If he doesn't have a computer to hook up to it, he's guessing.
he can't.
Yeah. Yeah, something going on with it. It's,
That he was talking
About,
earlier.
could help a whole lot.
That'd help him with that.
Well, I think you ought to go to the Dodge or the Ford house, or the Dodge house. They've got
I
a,
wonder if they're doing oil changes and tire changes.
No.
no,
No.
I don't think so.
Whenever they have an oil change, it takes him 30 to 45 minutes to do that. If it's something more, it's taking him a day or two to do something major.
Well, Judge, I can tell you, if he don't have the stuff, and this is what he's asking for, and this may make things and be able to fix things, but on those sheriff's cars, you don't have a computer, you
You can't evaluate any of that.
You can't do anything.
Look at a time sheet of him every day and see what he's doing.
That's what we've got to do. Somebody is going to have to.
He's got to turn in a time sheet every day.
A work order.
Order. He's got to turn in something every day. Y'all have decided, other than one of those there, we're gone.
Who managed Terry and Dennis?
Philip was supposed to do it. I don't know how much that did. The others got.
Who managed Terry and
Dennis? Checking your own equipment.
A year ago.
You were over there asking him where you at on my equipment.
Philip did.
Well, Philip turned his timesheet in, other than that.
But did he really provide any management
No,
or just run
no,
himself?
no leadership, no.
So there's really not been any
No.
leadership or management there?
Well, the biggest problem we had Dennis. You didn't have to manage him, he got it done.
that's right. When I got there, he just did it. He was out there in the morning at 7 o'clock, he'd grab up a broom if it wasn't something, start sweeping.
I tell you what he's done for me. He couldn't figure something out, and I guarantee you the next day he was up there. I don't know if he went home, got on the computer, I don't know what he did, but he had it figured out.
Now, who you talking about?
Dennis,
Will Banks.
shop was clean, he's a good mechanic.
He retired. But he's one of those exceptional guys, it just bothers him because he can't figure something out.
Right.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, he'd go home, he said, I got last night, 12 o'clock, I woke up, I knew what was wrong. And he keeps thinking, he's always thinking, what can I do to correct this? And I don't know what the money he saved us. He saved us a lot of money.
Mike, who needs to manage this position?
Sir?
Who needs to manage this position right now?
First of all, I think we check to see if the engineer is supposed to be over that. He's a county employee and he does work for them. I don't
There's
want to come
nothing
up.
that specifically states that. I think that's a decision we can make.
I think it needs to be somebody that's got a shop out in that area and stuff. But I think that ought to be left up to the individual official who wants to do it. They volunteer. If they don't, I know Philip could go by there every day and say, I want a list of everything that's completed. And just look at it. It's half the time they don't know what you're looking at and what you're doing, but I know Philip has a decent mechanic degree. He has personally fixed a lot of equipment that we needed fixing because we couldn't we were tied up or had so much equipment down that we couldn't, it's just a yearly thing you're gonna run into. Also, I do know that he's went, I think, a long year, Tyler, to pick up a part to get back. We sat over here on the Ray Price Road for, what, 3 hours waiting on the part one day? By the time you take everything, get everything put up and stuff, now he's back with the part, but didn't take 10 minutes to put the part on. And we went right back to work. But I'm sure Terry has to make some trips like that. But the big thing is finding somebody that's dependable that you can send to Longview to pick a part up and come back. And
We've had some of our guys check parts.
do what?
We've sent some of the road and bridge guys parts.
Yeah. And a lot of times we did fix stuff ourselves. But we knew if we took it up there at that time, I know when we got that particular part, I think Bill Baker drove along when we got that part, didn't he, when we seal cut?
Well, I've got a crew that's broke down, there's not anything wrong with sending one crew, because they can't do anything to get the part fixed anyway.
Yeah. And a lot of times, the whole crew can't do something until we get to the part.
You know, we were shut out till we got that part, got the part back within 10, 15 minutes. Bill Baker had that sucker running and we went right back to seal cut.
We don't have that right now. We're not even close to that. If that's going on, John was doing it.
Big thing is off season, get everything checked out.
Well, let's try to rein this in. Do y'all have time, desire, ability to manage this position? Do you think Roger should do that? Y'all are the ones that have an office anywhere close to there. I guess we're down to just you out there.
Yeah.
I have no idea how to quantify the level of management that's needed out there, but it sounds like a little bit would go a long way.
Well, kind of look at it like this. Al's supposed to be the truck man and know stuff like that, so it'd be something you could do.
No, I'm not gonna do that. That's,
He's my repair and maintenance man.
that's right. I'm not, no, I mean, I've had a lot of, I've hired and fired more mechanics than I won't even think about. And I don't want to, I'm not going to do it, not unless I was able to be close like Roger is, where I could walk up there and see what the hell it is, see if he'd give me a work order on everything. I'd have him make a work order, everything, time he started, time he finished. Every mechanic I've ever had that. He had to do that. And he had to.
How'd y'all do it at TxDOT? Who was over where were your maintenance facilities? There at the same location?
No, we usually send it, if we couldn't handle it at the yard here, then we send it to the district the district shop.
Which is where?
Atlanta.
Wow. But you had a full-time mechanic here doing basic stuff?
Well, not really. When we needed him on the road, we put him on the road. They're my full-time mechanic right now is a crew leader. Until they can find somebody to replace him.
So you didn't have an 8-hour-a-day mechanic there at your shop?
No, but usually in the summer it ended up being an 8-hour-a-day job.
But was that handled by one of your road crew guys?
Yes.
Okay. Not a.
Yeah, they eliminated our mechanic positions in the section. So basically, he's designated as a road hand, but you still got to have one. You got to have one to keep everything going.
Okay. Well, let me just ask you: would you be willing to take this management responsibility?
I don't see how I can keep up with him any better than what I'm keeping up with him now, and that's not good enough. I can tell you that. I can't check on him. You know, I couldn't tell you if he's sitting out there 2 hours a day. All I know is what John's been telling me when John was up there, and John thought that, Terry was doing pretty good on everything. It's just, There's a lot of stuff that's a two-man operation. And sometimes it's just better to have two people in that shop. Right now, I think overall, and I think John's opinion overall, we need 2 people in there right now. Now, whether we need 2 people in there year-round or not, I don't know. Yeah. But right now, I think we really need 2 people in there.
But we need 2 people working, not one man watching, one man working.
We had 3 during this time of the year since I've been there. The part-timer and Ricky and Dennis and.
Because it does take a while to run down on the parts that you need.
But they were.
I mean, it sounded like you had basically equal to 2 full-time mechanics in the past, when you had 1 full-time and 2 part-time.
But just in the summer, well.
Had 1 full-time year-round and had 1 6 months out of the year.
Or less.
Yeah, another for Ricky was full-time, it's just he truck driver.
And he drove the truck.
We had 2 full-time people that weren't full-time, only one of them was a full-time mechanic.
Well, Ricky just about took care of the sheriff's cars.
Every time I saw him, when he was there at the shop, he was on the sheriff's car. Changing tires, changing oil filter.
I don't know who
I
was signing.
thought Ricky did a real good job with that stuff. But he was I always saw him, he was working. Now, I don't go out there that much.
And see, we were down like 3 weeks on our belly dump, and go there, so.
Was that because he wasn't working on it or trying to get parts for it?
Trying to get parts on it. Then we had another issue, once I got the part.
That's the big thing.
We had to set up an account with them, and that took another week, so they just held our cylinder. And we're setting up an account with somebody that we probably won't do business with again. So we had a week's time there where we were setting up, trying to get an account set up so we could get the parts. So it just sat down along with you for a week. And that gets back to the credit card issue. You know, they don't want us using the credit card.
I don't know how to take a week to set up a account or somebody. The only thing that nobody's going to do is nobody's going to guarantee the account. I don't expect you to guarantee it, or they would guarantee it, or you guarantee it. But when you go using credit cards, then you circumvent purchase order system, which is controlled by budget. You know, you buy something on that credit card, it's over budget, I don't have it, it's already bought. I can't stop it, I can't do anything about it. But that very often, when you get to this time of year.
Well, can we go ahead and just get a purchase order even for a credit card purchase, just so we can track it?
You can maybe do that if you got the PO before you do.
What we do with the sheriff department, if they're ordering something online, you know, like the front, that's what you're doing, and at that time you need to call us and let us know, and we'll put an estimated amount in there if we code it to the line item. But it just, that's such a core, is it pressure on?
That we estimate, and we know the exact cost.
Well, yeah, then you could,
You can put an estimate, you have to do another PO after that PO.
or you go in there and correct it, which shocking now.
You can, you want to call and get a PO first, I don't think that would be a problem. But to just go use a credit card, goes around the PO system. That's how we track whether we're under budget or over budget.
I don't know why you couldn't get a PO every time.
Because I think what we do is the credit card would be credit card service or whatever, and you would call us with that amount. We'd go in there and do a PO to the credit card, and then we would keep that in the file, and then when we get the statement, the credit card statement, and then they balance it back.
Right.
And that's how we.
Because most of the time, we're going to know the exact amount.
We could do that.
Cool, we ask them to pay for it.
It shouldn't happen, I don't want.
We don't want to use
Get the
credit card,
word
and
all
just
the
get
time.
easy, but we don't have to do anything. That's
But you still have to do a PO, so it would be.
I don't think why they wouldn't take those POs. If you needed a part in Longview, they'd take that PO.
No, they want, we haven't got an account set up.
Oh, on the campsite.
The PO would be just for us to track it. That's
Right.
Yeah. To go through our system to make sure we still got money.
What would we only need is one, we won't have an account set up. For somebody that you don't even know one part every month?
This could be, yes, this air cylinder. We only got one air cylinder this size on one bed. So this is probably, we may not ever buy anything from them.
There's two of them, go the other one.
But you can do that, you don't always get a PO that way.
But we still need the lines on the finger just because it's to credit card. Wherever I to by the IRS, they will take that credit card and go down every item. Was it they did?
Yeah, they can, when you send it over, they can send you back.
Yeah, just be sure that that credit card doesn't eliminate, you don't have to do anything on the vendor, the information. We still need it like we said, up to the vendor, W-9 and everything, so we can have that.
It's just W-9.
Right, we need to check to see, but still, they don't approve it, so.
The only time that I know that the sheriff's department used the credit card is after hours, or going to pick up a prisoner in Plano, and they have a blowout or something like that. They've used the credit card.
Well, we're trying to get an account set up out here with industrial pipe and supply, and they have a lot of stuff that we need. And since we won't sign their form, they're not going to let us set up an account.
Well, there's not a city or a county that will sign that part that says they're going to pay it. So I don't know, so they must not be. And the state will sign that either. And the state will pay the penalty. We meet every 2 weeks, and we pay every bill we got, and they know they're going to be paid. But the county's never not paid a bill. But they only meet twice a month, so I can't guarantee them if they order the part one day after that court meeting and something happens the next court meeting, they might be 22 days for them to pay for 30 days. But they'll get paid. Part of the bottom, I know right in the mark out where we pay a kind of penalty before 30 days. That's not part of it. There won't be signs, but I don't have the authority to sign anything for the county. I don't have the ability to contract the county anything. These guys do, sheriff does.
Well, he writes a work order up, doesn't he? Terry?
No,
No.
that's the stuff we were trying to buy.
Oh, okay. But does Terry, doesn't he do a work order on every sheet?
Yeah.
PO's put up?
Yeah.
But that's Terry's stuff.
Yeah, but I'm understanding, he got a copy machine out there, he can write down what time he started, what time he finished, and then, every day y'all pick it up.
Well, you talking about something else now.
Yeah, something.
They're talking about buying a car and using the credit
I
card.
understand that, using the credit card, I understand that part, but I'm going back to what we need to do on this other.
Right. Well, my experience is when you had a shop in New Orleans and a terminal in New Orleans in operation, and the shop didn't report to the terminal operations or whatever it was, it didn't work out. It never did work out. They've tried it lots of times. You got to have somebody work on your equipment, and you need to be in charge of that guy. He should be your responsibility because he has to service your equipment, and that's the reason that I think it'd be foolish to let somebody else manage Roger's equipment, mechanic, and him on Roger's equipment. You just, looks like to me you're trying to duck the responsibility of this. You're trying to dodge it. Instead of yeah, you should.
I have a tendency to get my equipment fixed before the sheriff's office.
Well, that's the sheriff's problem.
I think you could manage a minor problem like that. I believe, I have all the faith in the world. That wouldn't be a big problem for you once you got it organized and straightened out.
Yeah,
Don't laugh, Philip. I don't have a doubt. That'd be a minor problem. It was a minor problem before, with Dennis there, it was never a problem. I didn't hear it 3.5 years, 3 years.
But if it's such a minor problem, why can't one of y'all handle it?
What, say again?
If it's such a minor problem, then why can't one of y'all handle it?
Because it's not in our domain, and I don't think we should, but
Well, I didn't think it was
we're elected.
when you hired me.
Yeah.
I don't think there'd be anything wrong with a commissioner taking over this minor job of overseeing and getting things straightened out with our mechanic. You know, let's let Roger continue to focus on establishing this road unit system. I don't think it should be a commissioner long-term, to tell you the truth. I do think it needs to be back under your direction, but you know, we got a lot of things going now that's typical of getting a new department up and running. I personally like to see you able to focus 100% attention on that and let a commissioner oversee this mechanic, decide if we've got the right mechanic, if we need additional mechanic, if there's a different way we ought to be reporting work done, and figure out, is there a better way to service sheriff vehicles? Does it make sense to farm that out? Does it make sense to do it in-house? I don't know, but right now nobody's got a grasp on this. But long-term, I do think it should be you, but I think maybe for the next, you know, through the end of the year, Commissioner do it.
I wouldn't mind while we're watching it if I was able to do it, you know. You know, what the guidelines, we need to set guidelines up, what's going to happen, what POs and like work orders have to be done. Because I'm out there.
I think that you could establish that, and if, you know, if anybody doesn't like the way you're doing it, then they can do it. Would y'all be okay with Dana for the time being taking that oversight job on? Just say maybe through the end of the year, and we look at it again when off-season begins.
I certainly don't have any problem with it. But I'm like you, I don't think it ought to be now.
So you think long-term we ought to put this under the road
We need to come back
engineer?
and look at it at that time and see how it's working.
Okay. Well, I appreciate Dana saying that. I have no idea how to quantify what kind of responsibility this would be, but do you know Terry fairly well?
Just know of him since it started here.
Well, I think that's one step right there, is just to get a handle on what's going on out there. The things I think need to be figured out quickly is how much time is being spent on sheriff vehicles, and is that a significant source of hindrance for getting county road equipment taken care of? And if it is, then I don't know why we couldn't consider a temporary situation where maybe we had the Ford House, Dodge House, Billy Craig, or whoever taking care of some sheriff vehicles to get caught up with road equipment. And I know it is important. Both of those are very important. The sheriff depends on having good, reliable vehicles always available, but so does our road engineer. So we've got to figure out a way to accomplish both. But back on, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think we ought to get a part-time, full-time mechanic till the end of October. That's when everything starts. I understand that, but that would help get stuff out.
Well, it would help in September, maybe. It's not going to help in August.
Well, that's better than not doing anything. And then have a guy there to change tires and oil.
You can certainly go try to find somebody tomorrow.
But basically, we've tried that, it's failed already, so.
Well, you say it's failed. I mean, who knew he was going to have some physical problems?
People that we got to interview, we narrowed it down to 4, and it wasn't a good response. We just picked the list of 2 or 40 hands. We ended up hiring 2 of them, and 2 of them started quit on us. The other 2.
What are we paying?
I'm sorry?
What are we paying?
We're paying 15 for one and 20 for the other.
Anybody, $20 an hour?
Wow.
We didn't offer anybody else 20, but that guy that was going to hire for 20, he knew his stuff. You know,
He knew a lot about equipment.
Yeah.
And had a lot of experience working with those.
like that chip spreader was, I think that might scare him off.
Yeah, I think they might scare him off. I go ahead and get the chip spreader.
No, what scared him off? I didn't hear.
The chip spreader, we feel like that chip spreader,
Right.
We don't know that for sure.
we just guess, you know.
Because we need to get
I'm
chip
telling
spreader
you.
ready to go for next year. It hadn't been running in a while.
You got some personality problems. I'm telling you, in my mind, just like Jimmy said last week, Ricky retired because of Terry. Dennis wouldn't come back because of Terry. Everything I'm saying, there's a problem, and I wouldn't be a bit surprised that's not the problem keeping a part-timer. I mean, if you're overlooking that, I think you're being naive. I really think that should be looked into. And I could be dead wrong, but
Do what?
You're evaluating stuff out there?
yeah, he needs to know if somebody can hire him and fire him.
Not only that, you gotta pay enough money to get good people.
Sir?
We're not paying enough to get good people, then we need to pay more money. But we need to hold them accountable for what we're paying.
You bet. But I think he's a pretty good. Well, some people need management. There's some road hands right there that are good road hands, but if you let them on their own, they couldn't do a good job, and that's the reason you need somebody to manage. And I think I think he's a pretty good mechanic. He just can't manage his time. Is where I think the problem is.
That's where sometimes they should maybe help him. You may not realize,
Let me give you an example. Every day at 3 o'clock, he shut the shop up. He gets off at 3:30 or 4. He goes over there. So one day, now I thought Philip Hinton was his supervisor, but I didn't know, I couldn't stand it anymore. I said, why do you quit work every day at 3 o'clock? You get paid, don't you, later? And he's always late, a few minutes late getting there. So anyway, and I said, don't you get paid that? And finally he said, and you been going over to Ricklett's. As soon as I leave at 3:30, everybody leaves, he's gone. I think he's supposed to work to 4. He's on the clock to 4, and he goes over. And I said, I don't think you ought to be doing that. You're getting paid. He said to me, you're right. I shouldn't be doing that. And I have been doing it. I mean, he didn't argue about it. And that was it. That's just, somebody needs to bring it. I don't know how to explain it, but he needs a manager. He needs some management. And you've had employees like that, and all of us have. And you just, they'll do what you ask them to. I can think of one on my crew that works for you. I wouldn't take for him, one of the road hands. But he goes stand around a little bit if somebody don't tell him to give him a project, but he'll do a good job once he gets started, gets involved. So that's where I think about this mechanic. I think he's a fairly good mechanic, but I think he don't want anybody else. I think he thinks that he was hired, he's the boss. And I really think that's part of the problem. I don't think we've ever explained it to him, as Christie said, what he should be doing or should not be doing.
You think with some direction, we can keep him and utilize him?
I think so. I think you got to take a firm hand with him, though. I mean, you're going to have to be serious, you know. So he has to understand if you don't do what you're going to fire him. You know what I mean? I think you have that authority. I don't want him. I think if he thinks that we're going to come back and act as a committee again, you know what I mean, and talk about it, I think it'd be difficult to handle. I think he's pretty slick. I think he'd be hard to handle. But if he understands that this is the way it is, because just like, let me give you another example. When Ricky, we didn't replace Ricky, he's immediately, he like to wore me out. And I know he did Philip. I don't know about Jimmy, but about wanting more money. I replaced a guy. I got rid of a guy. I want more money. I mean, just lay around. Didn't seem like to me he's working at all. I said, wait a minute, don't work that way. You're not in the budget. And whatever, you get paid to work. You know, and not matter what the other guy did, you get paid to work, you get paid day's pay for a day's pay. That's what you agreed to. And I mean, it finally, I mean, he really wore me out, and I know he did you. And I don't know about you, Jimmy. Did he work on you?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I thought he was going, and I think that's when the shop started backing up. I mean, I think I just think he just needs a good, strong manager, and I mean, but he's not a bad mechanic. He can do so.
Feel comfortable having that discussion with him? That you're his boss?
That's fine with me.
Further notice? You want anybody else to
Well, like I said,
back you up?
no, I said, no. Just said he knows, he needs to know that his number one priority is the shop. You know, not telling somebody else to go do it. You know, he's got to do it. But if you've got two people, he's got to do it some too. He can't, like wearing John out, he can't do that. That's not right for John.
I would say somebody like Jimmy or somebody, if he went and had that talk, I would say somebody else.
I would too, but I think he needs to understand that
He's not the boss.
he's not the boss, and we recognize that, you know, he's been running without much management. We want to get a better handle. We're trying to find a way to balance out getting work done for Roger and getting work done for the sheriff without, you know, without neglecting one or the other.
Part of us being able to evaluate this, we've got to have maybe time sheets so we can see, we can't tell how much time spent on what, unless we have some detailed records every day of what you're doing. So we can evaluate, so we try to help you. And put it in a positive light.
Well,
So that, you know, that way we know, so I guess I stay up there all day and make sure what he's doing. I guess I'll have to.
I don't think you have to do that. I think you
Get
go
the-
there at 8 o'clock in the morning, you see what he's planning on going on that day, what's in the shop, and go by at 4 o'clock after. First couple of weeks, when I go by at 4 o'clock, that's when he's supposed to get off work.
I think he-
just leave
And
at
then
4
just
o'clock.
pop in after a couple
And
of weeks.
just see what he, say, okay, when we see time, see what we got.
Like I said, what,
Pop in there for time today.
yeah, like I said,
You might go after lunch.
what time does he go to work?
We work 6 to 3 right now.
another thing you better try to figure out is, you know, what are the manpower needs? How much burden is the sheriff putting on him? Does he understand what his priorities are? I'm not sure he knows, you know. Both of those departments are important. What do we have budgeted for 2 positions there?
We don't, we just
Everybody
have,
has one position part-time.
and the part-time is 12,900 to the end of this fiscal year. We've already probably used some of that.
And that's assuming a 40-hour person for a number of months.
Well, it can't be 40 hours a week.
Can't go over 29.
It can't go over 29.
Oh, that's right, okay. So you got 1 1/3 people budgeted essentially for the year, right? We're trying to help plug in some numbers here. What do we need to do for this upcoming year? We'll leave it at that. Put in more money for this position.
I can go back to the budget for when we had Ricky here.
Well, you got it in, he's got it in his budget for a truck driver, 40,000, to put it back in there.
Yeah, I took all of
We
that.
took that out.
I took it back.
Huh?
We took it out.
Yeah, I thought that was gone.
Oh, I'm looking at Roger's request.
Oh, yeah.
Roger's requesting put it back.
Oh, Rogers.
Rogers, yeah.
No, we don't have it on our,
Yes,
we took it out. It's just.
said truck driver,
Hey,
40,000.
what's this, Rod? What am I reading? Maybe this is old.
He's got nothing, okay, my fault, my bad.
He's got zero budget.
He's got seven, in 17, he's got 40, but in 18, he's got nothing.
He's got nothing.
Yeah.
My fault.
Zero. Right.
Oh, okay, I thought that's in 16. You're like me, we can't.
Right now, we're using our hand to drive the truck.
Can't hear, can't see.
Do what,
We're
Roger?
using our hands.
Right.
Road and bridge hands to drive.
Tim, you know, mostly.
Well, let's up that budget, maybe double that second position. I mean, we're shooting blind right now. I don't have a clue.
Doesn't mean you have to spend it.
But obviously, we had with what's his
We
name?
actually had two
Ricky.
people.
Yeah, with Ricky.
Now, the second full-time job is driving the truck, you're not gonna have to drive the truck,
So you're gonna,
I'll just take the 12, I'll just make that 2.
so you're gonna raise Terry's, are you gonna raise Terry's pay? Because you know he's gonna beat me up on it every time he goes there, you know. I'm gonna tell
I
him.
think you're either gonna have to raise his pay or you're gonna have to hire somebody else to raise their pay. I don't think you can get it built for $20.
But if he gets 25, he needs to up his workload.
That's right. That's right. And he needs to be held
Accountable for what he, if he not, we just got to get somebody.
He needs to fill out those worksheets every day, yeah,
What he does.
on everything he does.
You know, he's not gonna be the, you know, you got two mechanics, nobody's ahead. You know, they split the work up.
Well, he's obviously viewing his performance differently. He obviously feels like he's given performance that warrants a considerably higher paycheck.
But, you know, he does a lot of parts chasing. You know, he does to get the lowest price on the parts and stuff.
And that didn't happen before either. That just happened in the
Right.
last 6, 7, 8 months.
But like I said, you know,
All that part, he didn't do that. I'm telling you, this is amazing.
Who did it before?
They'll bring, you can order a part from ABC.
Oh, I'm not saying, yeah.
And they come from Longview and bring it to you. I've never seen I didn't know it existed till this deal. These people bring you parts in a heartbeat.
I wasn't talking about that. I was just talking about he
Searches
for the
cheapest,
the best price and stuff.
the best price. He searches for the best price on a lot of stuff now.
But I'm not talking about going to get it.
Call one person would call.
You know, he does a lot of research. You know.
He'll do it. And
He can do
AB's
that.
They'll bring it from Longview,
Right.
a filter, a fuel
Is
filter.
you'll find out, is that a significant source of his time? You know, when you're sitting at the computer for 2 hours a day,
Right.
that puts a real hit on.
Well,
That's something that he needs to write down. If he's doing 2 hours of work on the computer a day, then he needs to write that down.
So is it a problem if I had to run chase
I
parts?
know I've got on the computer and I wasn't gonna be on it long and be a night.
Obviously not long-term.
Right.
But I think once you have a feel for it, man, is that a demanding part of the job?
Right, yes, right.
You know, we're trying to figure out how much manpower does that department really need, and what's the best way
We
to
just
do
need
it.
a person to order parts and chase parts all the time.
Do what?
We may just need a person to chase parts and
Purchase
order
order.
parts.
Well, I don't know that we're gonna have the luxury just to have a full-time person sitting at a computer.
Between that and chasing parts, I don't know.
Well,
You had to
let's
send
let
me-
Dana figure out how
You
much.
had to send me to computer
parts
school,
chasing
so I know
that is.
nothing very much about the computer.
Because you're paying this guy $20 an hour to chase parts and to do computer work. Or you might be able to pay somebody $12 an hour to do that.
But you don't do.
Yeah.
You'd be amazed how quickly they'll bring you parts. in Mount Pleasant, most part.
Somebody still got to order them.
We're talking about sitting there on a computer looking for what is the part that I need.
Yeah.
I don't know how long that takes, but if I'm in that job, I'd probably kind of like that air-conditioned computer time. You know, and so without direction, that may take longer than it should take. That's another thing we can be trying to identify. But yeah,
Like I said,
if we're spending a fourth of our day at the computer, something's wrong.
Right.
If you need a part for a Caterpillar, don't you just look up the Caterpillar catalog and see what it costs to order it?
Yeah, but you got to take time to do this.
And sometimes.
But it's not.
Well, just like it,
It does. I'm trying to find some parts right now for my hay baler, and I've probably spent 2 hours yesterday looking for, trying to find the cheapest one and try to find the best and closest place to get it.
And a lot of times it's not so much the Caterpillar, it's like that smooth drum roller, or the pneumatic roller we have that's smooth.
Where do you find parts for it?
That. So now you have to research all that kind of stuff to find it.
We don't go to manufacturing without that.
Well, you can, but we don't know
Most
what
of
the
it-
manufacturer is.
When you go to, that's the
Well,
thing,
if
when
you
you
go to
go
the
to,
manufacturer, then you got to get on the manufacturer's website, then they're going to send you to a dealer. So you're trying to find the closest dealer to you to order the part from. It takes time.
and if you can find something aftermarket, it's usually a whole lot cheaper than going through a dealer to do it.
And it doesn't happen that often, but when it does, it can be time consuming.
Yeah, when it does happen, it can be time consuming, but
Well, we have a few of those exotic pieces of equipment, bow mags.
Smooth.
You didn't have any trouble getting parts for that boat magnet.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't make some of them anymore. We're actually buying parts we're buying valves. We're not buying parts from Bowmag. We're buying the valve from getting it made somewhere. You can't get them from Bowmag anymore. They don't stock them.
They quit stocking those parts.
So, you know, parts like that will take a long time to find.
Okay, let me throw out a suggestion. For the new budget, I'm not saying we're approving it, but for the new budget, why don't we budget a higher salary for the main mechanic and budget, I don't know, a $40,000 second position. Part of his discussion with Terry can be, we're going to budget for a higher pay for you, but I need to get a handle on what's going on up here, and the Commissioners Court wants to be sure that if and when they authorize and put that raise into place, that they have a good feeling that they're getting their money's worth. So there's no guarantee that that money is going to be given in pay, or that decision has yet to be made, but they are open to that. But right now, we realize there hasn't been a lot of management oversight given to this department, Terry, but there is now. There's a new sheriff in town, and we're going to get a feel for what's going on in this shop and figure out how much manpower it truly needs and how we're going to get the job done more effectively, because we're hearing from both the sheriff and from Roger that we're not keeping up with the load. Well, then he's going to share with Dana why he thinks that is, and Dana can tell him, well, here's what I am observing.
But it also affects our life. You don't have to be willing to stop it. You're going to have to observe and evaluate that. So that's what that's going to do. You're not going to do anything until January 1st. Unless it's maybe hire part-time help, you get somebody to it now. October.
And then we will move forward with a plan that ultimately will target 1st of January to turn the management over to the road engineer department. That sound reasonable? Okay. All right, well, was there any other budget items that Terry had needed that we needed to discuss? I don't recall any. Let me move on to a couple of topics here, and if we can break at lunch and come back, we can continue tomorrow. We obviously are not going to finish by lunchtime today, but let me bring you up to date for those of you that don't know. Our JP, Paula Dyke, effective today, is on a leave of absence. She begins chemotherapy, radiation treatment for lung cancer today. And this has all come about fairly quickly, like literally middle of last week that I found out about this. Her first challenge was figuring out who was going to fill that hole while she was gone. Paula has 2 employees, Terry Adelot and Charity Jeffrey. Terry stepped up and said, if it's okay with everybody, I will be willing to do that job in your absence and do my clerk work too if I am able to do so. With the guidance from a lady by the name of Thea Whalen at the Justice Court Training Center, and I was part of this discussion to find out how we go about doing this. My first question was, can she do this even though she does not live in Precinct 2? So we are not replacing Paula Dyke for an unfinished term. We are appointing someone to fill in for her while she is on medical leave. And under that circumstance, she does not have to be from Precinct 2. And under that circumstance, the way that the pay works is whether it is on a daily basis, a weekly basis, a monthly basis, that fill-in person, whoever it is, whether it's a retired judge is one of the options given, or it does not have to be a retired judge, their pay is elevated to the same, in other words, they receive the same pay that the JP who is out on leave receives. So, Terry took over responsibility this morning at the jail, and we can change anything that I'm telling you here. In fact, we're going to need to vote on all of this, but I think it's important that all of you know about this. I know that Jimmy knew about it because of Paula's relationship with Jimmy and his wife. I did call Mike Fields because I wanted at least a couple of you to know what was going on, because I swore in Terry on Friday so that she could take over duties today. Now, if we want to go a different direction, this body right here, this Commissioners Court, has the authority to do so. Nobody that's available knows that job any better than Terry does. She's willing to do it. Those are positives. Financially, the effect is we raise Terry's pay, which let's say it's 2/3 of what Paula's is, half of what it is. You have a ballpark idea? It's got to be about 2/3. And so that's going to include, in my opinion, her auto allowance and her payroll, which would be adjusted effective today. We are looking at 6 months according to Paula's doctor, and I think that's everything that I know to tell you. So,
as far as the cell phone, will we give Terry that as well?
Some of the employees have cell phone. Terry does.
Well, I mean, we give.
In my opinion, whatever compensation Justice Paula Dyke is receiving should be a mirror image for Terry. So everything is elevated on Terry's side to reach that point. Well, that's another thing we're here to discuss, and we'll take action on this to ratify or whatever at the next meeting. But I want you all to be thinking about this because I've never been in this position before. You've got Paula, who makes a salary, who receives a $600 a month travel allowance, and then a cell phone allowance. Is there anything special that she receives?
She does the OPC.
Not anymore. I've taken those over
For both sides?
for both sides.
Oh, we have done that. Okay. When was that? Just now?
Couple of months, well, 6 weeks and 2 months. Yeah. So the questions that Carl and I have discussed that I didn't have answers for, I have opinions, but I didn't have definite answers. Are you going to continue to pay basically 2 people for the same job with all of the same components there? In my opinion, that's the way that it should be done. If you see it differently, you need to think about that and be prepared to publicly voice your opinion on that. So, anyway, you have a new justice of the peace. Paula is not in the office there. If there is a different direction that you want to go with this, please share that with me so that we can be prepared to deal with that. Otherwise, I'm going to have an action item on next Monday's agenda to ratify this move here in the absence of Paula Dyke.
We don't meet next Monday.
2 weeks, I'm sorry, you're correct. 2 weeks. Or we can put together an emergency meeting this week.
Payroll Thursday.
I'm paying both of them. So you notify me differently, I'm paying both of them.
Now, the week of when y'all meet will be the first payroll.
Well, I can put together a meeting. We're obviously going to have some additional meetings here. I would recommend this week so that, when do you leave on your?
I'll be on Thursday, Friday, all next week.
Thursday, Friday of this week. Okay.
And then I've got some Wednesdays on that.
So it'll be good if we can get some headway today and tomorrow and Wednesday.
Yeah, tomorrow afternoon, 1:30, I'll meet with the appraisal district lady to go over our tax rates.
I can put together a meeting with 72 hours notice, would be either Thursday afternoon or Friday morning, to discuss the subject I've just given you. Otherwise, we will wait until 3 weeks, 2 weeks from today.
Yeah, I don't do those conversations, you just have to let my office know what you're going to do and share with the
And I'll be here.
I have a doctor's appointment Friday.
Well, based on what I've told you, and we're not taking action here, we will publicly vote on this. Do you feel the need to put together an emergency meeting to alter the plan that I'm proposing for you? Okay. Then I will plan 2 weeks from today to have this specific agenda item. She has gone public with this over the weekend, so this is, you can discuss this. There's nothing secret about this at this point.
It's on Facebook. Terry is not in precinct 2, but she knows that office, she knows what to do, and she knows how to handle it, and I think she is the perfect pick for it.
good as any.
And this is temporary till Paula's able to come back.
Very fortunate. Express your appreciation to Terry. Terry is not interested in this job long term. She's not in the precinct. She would not be someone that you would appoint to fill an uncompleted term at this point, and she has no plans of moving into the district to run next time. So that's another plus that we've got.
Paula's term is 2 more years?
Ends in 2018, another year and a half.
Rest of this year and next year.
And we certainly hope she'll be back just after the first of the year on track and
but she's got some tough medical treatments, combination of chemo and radiation, as I understand it.
The doctor recommended this, that she do this.
Let me now jump to item A. That was all I had on JP offices. So for budgetary purposes, let's anticipate going through August, September, October, November, December, January. Yeah.
3 months, 4 months, 4 months.
Yeah, 3 months of double pay there. All right, let me now jump to item A, county attorney and net data. County attorneys, Christy, correct me if I'm wrong here on anything that I say. The county attorney's office is not now, nor have they ever been, one of the departments that utilizes net data information. It seemed strange to me when I took this job that they didn't, but nonetheless, for whatever reason, and I think one of the primary reasons has been John Mark's desire to minimize cost. And I can't really tell you what the negative effects are of them not having been on net data, but they are now coming to me and saying we would like to have net data services available for us in the county attorney's office. And let me tell you a little bit about that. It is not cheap. We would have one-time costs to add basically two applications. The county attorney case management, which would give them the ability to view all docket cases through net data. These are the same things that currently, who has this ability right now? The clerk's office,
County clerk, district clerk,
jail.
I'm assuming your office has the
I think they probably set you at view only.
I'm view only, so I'm not a full-blown user, but our full-blown users are the two clerks, the sheriff. I guess that's it. So a one-time setup for case management of $20,000, a one-time setup to set up the hot check module, $12,500. So there's $32,500 of setup. You also have one-time training, $2,400 and $400, so there's another $2,800. The annual ongoing costs to maintain that subscription would be $6,000 for the case management and $3,000 for the hot check application. So again, $32,500, about $35,500 initially, which could be spent out of contingency funds in this budget year, and then we're looking, or you can postpone it until the new budget, plus annual $9,000, and that would be on top of what we currently pay to net data, roughly $140,000, something like that. So that'll take that $140,000 up to about $149,000, $150,000.
None of that stuff is cheap, but it's not cheap no matter who you go with. I think financial package.
We're 32.
$32,000 a year.
Per year?
And talking with, and I've gone to their office, and Esther was kind of telling me and Paul and see what they're going to do now. It's ridiculous. So, I mean, a lot of manual, a lot of room for human error as far as the spreadsheets, Excel, you get a wrong case number, to a wrong name, then you got bigger problems than just the cost of going on that data. And so I also went to Sulphur Springs, and I sat back and kind of looked at, as they gave them the demonstration of both sides, and I asked them again, is this really something that will benefit y'all? And they were just over, stacked over the that yes, this would be something that they needed.
And I don't think John Mark utilizes this nearly as much as his support staff, but it is his support staff that is the driving force behind this. He agrees now that it has come to the point where he's one of the few in his peer group that doesn't have this. He has talked to several of them, and they cannot imagine him doing the job in a county of this size without that information. So he is fully supportive of this. He understands the high cost, but he feels like this is the time when this needs to be done. And sounds like Christy is supportive of this and believes that, at least as far as how it affects her, that this is a wise move. Is that true? So, what do we have left in contingency right now? Do we have enough to pay for this? Plenty, okay. So, I will put this on the next agenda for the first meeting in August to consider the upfront cost in getting this started before fiscal year end. And then I will ask Carl to put this in the budget, at least as far as the annual cost. Any questions on that? Do you want to hear from John Mark or Paul about any of this?
So we're going to discuss doing it front of this fiscal year and then just adding the 9,000 along with our maintenance that will be paid our.
Yes. And of course, if you decide to change your mind before next meeting, you can, but we'll have to take action on this for the initial setup at the next meeting, and we can do it either this year or we can put it in next year's budget.
And we've got the money to do this.
Okay. Anybody need a break? We really need to hear from Roger, and Roger needs to hear from us on road and bridge. They've been up here all morning long, and I'm sure they've got things to do. I'd like to take just a couple of minute break. If somebody says we've got to have a lunch break, then we can do that. But let's take a few minute break and at least go a little bit here. All right. So let's recess for 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Work fast.
Oh.
I'm in course. What are you doing? Oh yeah, I had to come back. Yeah, had to come back. What are you doing? It should take about, yeah. Okay. All right. I'm in. Bye-bye. Did you bring lunch? And then we're going to listen to the engineer. about 15, 20 minutes. Maybe a while. Well, okie dokie, okie dokie. Be that way. Just come back bring that. Be a snack. Great. Cool. 3, 15, 3. Like some things, I'm so glad you're back in mine. I didn't want to get out of my bed this morning, man.
It's
I did say that, but like I said, I got to go and I'm going to do this here. Yep. Roger, a little bit. I know he's
I check all 100 roads I've got, 25 years. I go see where everybody calls me. I said, I'll do it in the morning. I'm supposed to get back. I invested more people last 2 months than I invested in the total year last year.
Invested some too.
I ain't my person yet.
I talked to a guy in church. He gonna help. They did.
He hasn't gone to any information yet, so I thought you might have scheduled a board meeting to see if we could
You don't know.
Let's go get that.
Jack Abbott. His wife, I think.
This is just Vincent.
They gonna up the price. They gonna up the prices over there. Oh, yeah, that's right. You're right. Did Roger call you about that distance?
I told him, I said, I just heard you got there. I'm involved in nuts. Well, and all that system, go to people. Those systems, I had to go to the shop out there. Electricity, cash. Set the law. And I would call Roger at 4 o'clock in the morning, go out there and cut that.
I told him I'd try to mow or side cut, one or the other, for him son. I told him I couldn't go to get Friday. I got him for years, he said.
Anything like that, I'm gonna cut around my house. I live out there. I said, I live on the county road.
That's what I told him. I said, they're wearing my phone out about that.
You can take that 15 foot, that means you're gonna be able to reach it out there about 10 feet. You get 10 feet.
Well, see, I've got
That way
that,
you don't have to get in the ditch.
I've got that 10-footer that you don't have that other wing sticking out there.
So that's the same thing. You can get down in the ditch, you can be just like that 15 footer.
Yeah.
But I went to the 15 footer because I had to done many mine roads.
That are wide, that
You had to make 2 swipes to
Yeah,
get it.
yeah. But see, that's the thing. It took us 9 days. We jumped on them and we had them all knocked out. I run that side cutter the first year I was in office. I didn't run it. I had them running all year long, probably other than 2 months maybe. If we didn't run it, we were working on roads and all took off.
We did that. First off, then we come back and it was dry, we went to this. If it was still wet, we did the same thing. We took 10 foot back of the road.
Yeah.
And then there again, we took 10 feet. At least 3 times. And the brush cut, when he wasn't busy, brush cuts, and I could get about half my roads cut. I could get about 50 roads a year cut back.
Most people in Chattanooga, he talked to him yesterday, he said, we just, I thought about camper, we got school buses, we got to get this cleaned up. We told me yesterday church, yes, I understand that.
Every other year, my roads are cut back, as far as we cut the road.
All right, it's 12:05, I think, and we'll come out of recess. Dana's had a week of vacation. He said he got all this sorted out while he was gone, so he's got a good solution for us here. When we left, when we broke 10 days ago, we were looking at a road and bridge request here, and Roger did a good job of telling you This is his best guess, given the plan that he is proposing. The only bad news is it costs a lot of money, a whole lot of money. Roughly $1.3 million over and above the 2017 budget, which is not just a quick fix in 2018, but this is a proposed ongoing cycle in order to seal coat all the roads in the county on a 15-year cycle and manage this 400 plus miles of road. And of course you all knew that it wouldn't be cheap. Now we're here to discuss what's prudent. Are the residents of this county and this city willing to spend this kind of money in the way of a tax increase in order to have these kind of roads, which wouldn't even be Cadillac roads, but they would be a dramatic improvement? And Roger has done a good job of explaining to you that seal coat and proper maintenance is a much better long-term plan than patch and Band-Aid as you go. And I'm sure you all know that too, and you all have had limited budgets for quite some time, and so I'll let you all begin this discussion. Unless, Roger, there's anything else you want to share with us before we begin some discussion.
No, I think this is where we need to be. I don't think you want to stretch it out any further than like a 15-year cycle. I think really you need to be about half of that, but I think we can live with a 15-year cycle. I mean, it's been nearly 12 years since you seal coated any roadways. A lot of those roadways do have several potholes in them now. Getting harder to keep up with them all the time. So I don't think you need to push more than a 15-year cycle.
I'll share with you a comment that I heard last week. I'm not expressing my opinion on it one way or another, but the comment was, why should we see a dramatic increase in road maintenance money? It seems to me that we ought to be giving the road engineer the same amount of money as we've been given to the commissioners, and then evaluate between the two as to which program works better. And I did my best to explain this is a whole different philosophy here, and this is going after a course of action that the road engineer feels like is best for long-term road maintenance within this county. So, if that's going to be, is that really a fair evaluation? Should we spend another year just simply saying, take the limited budget we've been giving the commissioners previously and let's see what you can do with that amount of money?
Well, I think you need that amount of money whether you have a union road system or the commissioner doing work. That's what I think you need to do, whether you got a union road system or not.
And this comment clearly came from somebody who didn't really feel like the county roads were so bad.
Good.
So that just to put it in perspective.
Don't come out my precinct.
But he's traditionally very conservative also, very, very fiscally conservative.
Well, I know 30 years ago, 25 years ago especially, we were able to redo every road every 7 years.
Yes, that's
Oil
really
prices, I'm going to tell you what happened. The oil prices went from $14, $15 a barrel and started gradually going up. And then in the 90s, it hit us right in the face.
right.
2 years ago, we were paying $109 a barrel. So that went from 7 years turnaround to 15 to 20 years turnaround, and that's roads are not going to last. And I was able to go in and work roads. Then I came back with asphalt because the oil prices were still down, and put asphalt on it. And you've seen the roads, they're still in pretty good shape, but they're fixing to start deteriorating really bad because they got cracks in them. We get a hard winter this next year or the next year, and you're going to see where that, you're going to think somebody been down to there with bombs. But I started that cycle about 25 years ago, and we were able, in 91, we took over part of Precinct 1, and we replaced, that was a major cost because we had to replace every culvert up there, rework every road that was there. Every road up there got reworked. And then we got back in sequence and started getting it done from 7 to 8, 9 years. We were working about 15 miles of road a year. We could work 15 miles. We could, back in that time, we could get about a rotation of 7 to 8 years.
Was that 15 in your precinct or 15 throughout the county?
15 in my precinct. We were able to do quite a bit. But oil was cheap.
Right.
$14 a barrel, you can do a lot of roads.
Man, I think the biggest problem you've had, you just haven't kept up with inflation.
That's exactly right.
And most of the inflation's been in materials, and you didn't put extra money in the budget to account for materials. So your material budget just kept going down and down, and you had to do less and less every year.
That's exactly right.
Well, basically, there's two things I've got to decide. First thing you got to decide is, do you want to go back and do the roads this way and commit yourself to a long-term plan to do that? And then secondly, you can't get there 1 year. You can't get there 2 years. You can't get there 3 years, probably. We can take some of that. You know, we had that $1 million of fund balance we set aside. We've used about $300,000 of it. But some of the equipment that we bought this year and everything.
Yeah.
But you still got $600,000 or $700,000. You could use it. I don't even think you go for the tax rate. You're going to have to go up 2 cents on the tax rate just to take care of the fire department this year. You're going to need to go up another penny in raises, even if you don't do anything to the sheriff's department raises. Which I hope you do the sheriff, you do everybody. I'm not saying the sheriff doesn't need it. His number's a little bigger than everybody else's number, that's fine. But you're taking care of 60 of the 120 people that work here, you take care of the sheriff's department anyway. So. But anyway, if you do something there, that's probably another penny. So you're looking at 3 cents, and that's no money allocated for this. And that's probably all you can do without
Going over the rollback.
Rollback, I don't know what that number is yet, I'll find out tomorrow. But if you commit yourself to do it, then we can put a lot of that reserve that we didn't use in the next year. You're not going to be able to do 1/15 of the miles, probably the first 3 years you're not going to be able to do 1/15. You may be able to only do 1/25 of the miles in the first year or two. But like Cal said, there's some of these roads that aren't used very often at all. It's not going to be, I mean, you want to obviously take care of the main roads first, the ones that get the most traffic on. So, I mean, you can approach it that way. There might be some roads we don't get to until 20 years, but it may be roads that only 5 cars a day drive down or something. I don't know how many miles of road that is, but you have to, number one, decide if you want to go with this system. And this court has to be committed to doing that, because if we throw all this money in for 1 year or two, and then y'all don't back it up with the tax rates it takes to do it continually, you may have fixed a couple of miles of road, but that's all you're ever going to fix. And you've used up your fund balance.
It's a very important point.
But I do think you can, do what you have to do this year, and next year you can put 2 cents in if you need to. 2 cents the next year, 2 cents the next year to get you to your 6 cents that you're going to have to do. Before you make that decision, you need to go talk to your constituents and say, are the roads important to you? If they are, you have to pay for them.
okay driving on gravel. I'll tell you that right there.
They don't mind driving on gravel everywhere except from their house.
And we don't have gravel underneath our.
I just use that example, dirt, whatever it is.
It's gonna be dirt.
But you have to make that, y'all have to make that decision, and it's gonna be a long-term decision.
Well, every 2 years, this whole court can change.
That's right. I mean, you can only control it, but I'm just talking about the 5 of y'all have to be committed to it. You can't speak for somebody that's not on the court. But it is a long-range plan. It's not something you can put in this year and change your mind next year. I don't think you can, because you're going to spend a lot of money, a lot of time, to basically back up. But that's where you're at. That's how you can get there.
I don't think the people that voted for the road unit system are prepared for this kind of news. I mean, that's not either right or wrong. I just don't think that they were saying with their vote, yes, because we want to spend more money to get better roads. I think they were thinking this made sense. Lower taxes, better roads was the motto.
Well, understand, it's like that gentleman said, you can keep the same system you got. We can throw another $100,000 in there, because we did cut a couple of years ago. And you can maintain the roads the way they've been being maintained. Or you can go to this system, but you're gonna have to spend a lot more money to go to this system, because it takes a lot more money to fix the roads that way.
I think Roger's the guy to take us to the next level, and he's telling you what that's going to cost. What I don't know is what the man on the street thinks. I don't have a good feel for that.
Whether good or bad, you'll know when we have those public hearings, how they feel.
What public hearings are you talking about?
To adopt our budget, we had to have 2 public hearings. We always have one during the day and then one at night.
Okay.
Tax rate. We have 2 years on tax rate. We only have one, but we can have a second.
Well, I was even thinking about couple of public meetings to talk specifically about roads, to get a feel for what folks want. You know, there's only going to be so many people that'll show up for these budget hearings. You know, the folks that I work and live near, and you know, they don't drive the county roads. I don't drive the county roads. So my perspective is very different than the guy living out there, you know, that says they can't even get a 4-wheel drive truck down their road. So everybody's got a different perspective. And is the guy living in the city willing to pay this kind of money to improve the roads that he or she seldom drives? I just don't know the answer to that. But I do believe that the numbers Roger is proposing here are realistic and reasonable and would achieve something that we don't have right now, and would help to alleviate just continued Band-Aid fixing of our roads.
Well, I have a lot of issues with this, and I think it's very extreme, and it's very correct. I think it's what we need to do, but I think it's way too much to do at one time. And there's a lot of priorities in there that's not mentioned. You know, the fact that we put, I don't know how much money we spent on 1905 between 71 and Sulphur River. There's just, that road is not a county, Titus County person drives on that road unless they're going to Red River County. It's just an oil field road. The oil field owns most of it, as far as I know. I went out one time and dumped my roofing off of that road, and we spent lots of money on it. We got the ranch road at 1905, the gentleman talked about last week. And we shouldn't spend any money on that road, I don't think. They wanted to make it a private road, and some of those, one family in there that I know that raised Cain, and Philip Hinton withdrew his bid to make it a private road. The Honeycutt Ranch, all the Honeycutt Road out on the west side of Daphne Prairie, that's a ranch road. That guy wants to buy all of that road, and all we've ever done is put on wrap and grade it a little bit. And that's all it needs. It needs it, so it goes on and on. And I'll tell you, this 430 miles is wrong. I don't know what happened, but some of them are just private driveways, and that's not the right mileage. I'd bet you anything, any amount of money. We got less than, I know that my precinct's got 80-something miles in it, precinct 1, and that's it. And the rest of them are about the same way as far as I can tell. We drove them and corrected it. So, but they're old sheets, 1992s. I don't know where they came from, the mileage on them, but this is it. And then I think to try to do all of this at one time would be foolish, because they're still country roads. These roads are, I think the picture that people have about roads, these roads are actually, the road is the drainage ditch. And nothing wrong with it, but they're going to have to be patched up. I'd hate to seal coat one of those roads, have it wash out, like we did White Oak Creek. A big hunk of that washed out after we got the search money. We seal coated about I don't know, a mile across White Oak Bottom. Had that big flood and washed out about 100 yards of it, just washed it out, big old chunks of stuff left. And we got, FEMA helped us some with that, $40-something thousand to do that. But it's just, in other words, for us, many of these roads that we're talking about seal coating, and I don't doubt Roger's numbers about doing it, so it'd take a tremendous amount of money to get them ready to seal coat, to get them, and it's just not practical, not enough traffic on the roads to do it. I think that this is way over ambitious. I mean. So how would you be for seal coating? Some of the more travel roads? Yes, indeed. I think I agree with it. If you go 2 cents a year, you're not going to spend it here. You're going to have time to evaluate which road, because the court determines. The way I read that unit system, he may turn on the list of the roads you want to work. Right. That's right. You can allocate those roads you want to. Well, that's what I think. And by having these two, maybe work that you can do them every 8 years, because you're not going to do 400 miles of the road. You're not going to do 320 miles of the road total. Because some of them are travel, or as far as safety to the traveling public. Just how far do you want to go? How big a hole do you want to leave in some of these minor roads?
Well, let me tell you, every road out there is not a minor road to the people that live out there. I don't care if there's one family or 20 families out there. It's all important to them.
But what I'm getting at, if we get a lawsuit filed against the county, because we neglected something out there. We just left it. We left a big hole in the road for 2 or 3 years, and somebody has a wreck out there. What's our liability limit?
I don't know. I don't think we ever had a lawsuit against a big hole being in the road.
Well, there are limits due to the fact that we're a county.
I think one thing we can do, this county road that goes north and goes across White Oak and Sulphur, in 99, we passed a resolution to make that a FM road. We need to talk to our state rep and get him to put that on the list. 2 other roads that we ended up making into farm to market roads was extension of 2348 and then 4000. We did do those resolutions, and I think that road at some point in time we need to push that to be a farm to market road. That would help out a lot, because we wouldn't have to pay anything on it. The state would take it over and be involved in it. But if you don't start it, push it, it won't ever get done.
And I don't think a lot of them talk about collecting them, maintaining at least the level we've been maintaining, but just not seal coat.
Just keep them safe. I mean, some of them probably do need to convert back to just gravel roads, period, and leave them. Because we're not gonna have the money to do anything else.
Well, you might eventually, you know, if you get, you do 2 cents, you'll have some money eventually, but the court is going to decide.
Well,
I mean, just like the Proseco loop up there. I mean, that's the only thing we can do with it right now is we haul some fly ash base in there and we grade it down. And that's all I really wanted to do to it. That's all we really did in 1905.
why don't you give it to them as a private road? That's what they wanted before.
That's y'all's business.
I think if you have one person that don't want to do it, you can't do it.
Well, the problem is that, do you know the person that wanted that is on this side of it? In other words, is on this side of where we wanted to close it. In other words, the road is east and west. You can go east, and it turns around, comes back into 71 up at Evergreen. Then you come this way, and it goes back around and comes in down to Sugar Hill Community Center. These people griping live here on this side of that road. Now, from that point on, that ranch, whatever it is now, the new name, is owned by them, both sides of the road. They own all of it, and the guy wanted to make it a private road, and Philip was going to. And then this family started griping about that one. They wanted to go out that way in case they wanted to go to DeKalb or Texarkana instead of coming back down here to Sugar Hill. But there's no problem.
How bad, I'm just curious, and we're kind of getting into the weeds here, but how bad is that road?
Pretty bad.
There's probably holes as big as
Fix that table.
So it is pretty bad.
Yes.
It's not bad like the Peninsula's residents when they don't want to see a dip in it that big.
They got dips that big.
I would say, it's like 1905, you couldn't drive down that safety over about 10 miles an hour.
So that's, keep the drug dealers from running too fast.
And a lot of this is probably close to that.
Keep the drug dealers and trash throwers from running out there too fast.
That Boseca Road?
No, that 71,
Oh, that one.
Cut Hand Road he's talking about.
Yeah.
Because we'd go out there and find big screen TVs, appliances, just people throw it out there. And now they can throw it out and get out a little faster.
Well, let me remind you that, it's this group right here that gives guidance to Roger. If you tell him, I only want you to maintain 200 miles of the road, well, he can tell anybody that calls, the commissioners have told me to not touch your road. So he'll do whatever we want him to do.
I'm not telling anybody I told you not to touch your road. That's suicide.
So, this isn't, his problem or your problem or yours. It's our problem. And what I'm hearing you say is that 430 miles is overstated and should be less. Well, is it overstated because you don't think we need to maintain some of those roads, or that they don't even exist?
I think that the city's taken some of them in and some of them don't exist.
KSA Engineers has got a program. I have seen it. I've accessed it from my computer, where they have identified every section of road, and you've seen what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I think that mileage is accurate.
Do you?
Do you think that mileage is pretty accurate?
Yeah, I mean, they're getting all their information from the Architects Council of Government, so.
Well,
I think it's accurate.
And that program is very interesting. You can sit there and look at it, and it's identified, by road, and the computer calculates the mileage. It's not just some guy. But do we need to maintain all 430 miles at the same level? I don't know.
We don't think so either.
No.
But on the flip side of that, some of those roads that don't get used very much,
Right.
the others are well-traveled, and they're not going to make a 15-mile-a-year cycle. So we'll have to probably maintain those at maybe an 8 or something like that because of the well-traveled roads. Where the others can go out a little bit 15 years is kind of an average overall, I would say.
Well, I can tell you the 3 roads that are the most traveled in my precinct, and I'm sure that that's probably about 20 miles, less than 20 miles, that the most traveled. Then there's others that are not traveled as much. Those roads, I'd love to see them seal coated and are fixed up, kept maintained.
Which road? The less traveled or the more traveled?
The more traveled.
What about the less traveled?
The less traveled, some of them are nothing more than one house at the end of a long road, you
So
know.
would you tell those folks, sorry, you really don't rank, or we're gonna fill in? I'm trying to understand, how do you differentiate between that 430 miles and however many miles you think are appropriate to be part of this 15-year plan? You know,
Okay, do that, Brian, as you can tell, look, we've got limited amount of resources, we're fixing the roads that are the most traveled.
Right.
That's how you tell. And then the others, we're just going to try to maintain the status quo. But the roads that are heavily traveled, we're going to try to improve them first. Get them all improved, we'll clean that road, and we'll walk all the way down the other road. That's how I would tell.
That's right.
But I think that's how this plan deals with that.
Right now, you're not maintaining the status quo. You're losing ground every year.
Every day.
Well, you're going to be able to do better status quo because oil prices are down.
Yep.
You're going to be, and two,
I don't know if they're gonna stay down.
well, they just said what they're fixing to put up.
They are.
$500,000 electric cars on the roads, and that's the future. And you're going to see prices continue to go down, I think.
Yeah. And also your gas tax and everything goes down with it too.
Well, I'm not,
That's right, we have less money.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I try to go to.
But now, we just get 20,000 a year, and that's it.
well, I'm not indicating that we don't spend any more money. Mr. Fields said that in last summer this time, we kept the budget, kept it down, we hadn't kept up with inflation, you've said it.
That's right.
And we need to raise the money we spend on road and bridges. And I don't know how much, so I think this is a little dreaming, like looking at the catalog. We'd like to have all of this, but I think to try to approach this is just too much at one time. We should cut it way down and start over. Next year.
Every step up.
It's a step plan. If you get the third and fourth year, you think 4 cents is enough, you don't go to 6 cents, and, that's where you stop. But you do have to have a commitment that we're going to put some money in it, because.
Oh, sure. Well, I think Mr. Fields said last year at this time, we need to spend some more money, and I think we do. Our percentage as a cost of our budget is probably, we need to spend some more money. And that's, and we need a plan. I think, I appreciate it very much, but I would like to, a lot less than this. How much less, I don't know, but I would like to see us try to prioritize, like involve the commissioners on which roads we think we would prefer each, the year and so forth. Which ones would we do first?
You can go to the state and you can get pretty close. Your cars per day, my county road, 400 Farmers Academy Road. At one time, we were having over 2,000, 2,500 cars a day go down that road. That's a lot of cars.
That's what I'm saying is, something that'll travel like that, it's not gonna last 15 years.
No, it's not.
So, we have to start somewhere, and it's a good average.
What is killing us right now, that's hurting me out there, is heavy trucks cutting across at night. Now, they're tearing good roads up because they're probably 100,000 pounds. And I've asked the DPS to start working that road more, and they said they would. And also, I know Ray has started working that road. The roads are getting tore up because we've got people cutting across with big trucks. At night, they do whatever they want to, I guess. But we have roads out there that are very heavily used because of the power plants, because of the mining. Mining is ceasing, and that road is not having, but we're still having big trucks cut across everything. Every road I got out there, they cut across.
Here's what I'm gonna need from y'all. I'm gonna be back when it's 14.
Okay.
We'll need some kind of idea of what you want me to put in the budget. My suggestion
Well,
this year is your budget, you're gonna have to go up 2 cents to cover fire contracts. You're gonna need a penny to cover the raises if you don't give any but the sheriff. That's all I would do this year. And I will pull some money out of it. If y'all are, and it sounds like y'all are willing to spend some money on roads in the future, we can pull some more of this fund balance out and put it in this year's budget. Then you get started on it. See, look, I can't give you a whole lot. Bring $400,000 in money. Then next year, we'll plan on going up 2 cents and it'll all go for the roads.
You're saying 2 cents this year?
Next year.
Well, we're gonna have to go up 3 cents this year. We gotta go up 2 cents this year just to cover the fire.
No, I mean on the road and bridge.
Oh, nothing this year. I'll just pay them out of fund balance. I'll give them like $300,000 extra money this year.
Or whatever the court says.
You're right, right.
Whatever, why can't you put another million over there like you did last year?
I don't know if I've got the room to do that much, but I can tell you on the 14th or the 15th, somewhere around there, I can tell you what I've got.
Right.
I don't really want to
You
get,
still
I
got
don't really want to get that fund balance below about $3 million.
But you still got the balance of that $1 million.
I've got $700,000 left in there. I can move all of it. That's probably going to bring our fund balance down to about $3.5 million. I think you're not thinking that's about where we would be if we burned off with all that money.
What do you mean? I must be looking the wrong fund. I said nearly 7 million, 8 million, 9 million.
No, we've only got, what we got, I think, Chris and I figured the other day, we may have
A little under 5.
5, but we just, but I had money budgeted, we hadn't spent yet, mainly the $300,000 on the election equipment we approved the other day. That's gonna bring it down to about 47. If I spend that other $700,000 we have not spent, that's gonna bring it down to about $4 million. I think it will be somewhere between $3.5 and $4 million in the fund balance after this year, if I use that $700,000 next year. And I don't know that you want to get a lot lower than that. That's, that's about 4 months operating money. Most entities don't typically go lower than that, but you could. When I first got it, we didn't have any fund balance, so, that's not, I wouldn't recommend doing it that way. But, $2.5 million probably need to be reserved all the time.
I'll tell you right now, right up front, I don't mind voting till we get to that amount to the rollback. And the rollback, I will not vote over that.
I would recommend that. You don't spend money on elections and everything else if you're not winning.
That rollback still gives you pretty good latitude on how much you can go up. We don't want to get close to that.
No.
You've heard what Carl has told you. That's the figure I've got in my brain. It's about 3 cents for this year. 2 to cover your fire, what we've done there. A penny to cover sheriff and whatever you're going to do in the way of a nominal raise for employees. It doesn't go any farther than that. It doesn't take care of any of this road request here.
But I can use the balance.
But you can use the balance of that. Commissioner Riddle, you're thinking, I'm kind of seeing it how you're seeing it. I don't know really where to draw the line. I can't go with this figure right here all in one fell swoop, but I can build towards it. What are you thinking on top of the 2017 budget? What are you thinking would be a reasonable amount to add to that for the 18 budget? I mean, kind of quantify for me what you're thinking. Because it sounds like we're gonna make a decision on how much road money to add to the budget based on how much we can spend, not so much on how much we need. Because he's told you what we need here if you're going to stick with this 15-year plan. So if we want to start off and ramp it up over the next few years, what would you start with? Knowing that you've got that $700,000 available to carry over.
Maybe a $500,000 to put with that?
To go with it?
No, more than
the,
yeah, you'll have the 700,000 if you increase it, not $1.2 million, but 500,000.
Use 500 of the 7.
Yeah. 500 of the 7?
okay, I'm not, I want to be sure I understand.
Yeah, let me see. The 7.
If he takes that $700,000, which is still available, but understand it comes out of fund balance.
Right.
Are you saying add that 700,000 to the 17 budget plus another 5, or take 500 of the 700,000 and add it to this?
No.
I was planning on using some of that 700,000 this summer.
Yeah.
He can spend it quick.
Yeah. Goes in a hurry.
And remember how much equipment we bought.
And you got some money left in the original numbers there. There's the raw materials in the original. How much of the 700 you think you're going to use this year, this late year? I can use it all. You can use the whole 700.
If you use that,
Do that.
yeah, if you use the 5, if we use the 700, I would raise this 500,000, $500,000.
I don't have a problem.
Some next year, because you can't get another raise until next
But
time.
not both of them. It's $1.2 million.
Now, I ain't gonna get you any more money. This 700, that's the last 2 years, y'all understand that. We go up to 3 cents, there's no money in that for road bridge.
Right,
So all he's got for this summer and next summer is that $700,000
right.
extra. That's the only extra money I've got. Unless you want me to dip into the fund balance more.
Well, that's why I was asking,
Yeah.
that 500,000, is that on top of the 700?
I don't even forget it. Except 500 more out of
That's the point I'm trying to drive home is, let's be sure we understand, if we're saying 500,000, which is utilizing that 700, but not all of it, that's one thing. If we're trying, I thought I heard him say add to that, and I didn't know if he was saying add to that.
I thought that 700's gone, and just put 500 more in this budget, but it's not. 700.
They're telling me they could, I didn't think they could use my 700 up this year. They're telling me that in 6 weeks they could use my $700,000 up. Well, then, all I can do to give them any more money next year is dip into the fund balance some more. And that would probably be the last time that you can dip into the fund balance. I don't even know what that's going to bring.
Well, before we adopt the budget, we know exactly what's left, we're close to it.
Carl's got a pretty good idea.
What I'm going to do is get started, but not spend $700,000 this summer. Instead of doing how many miles of road that we'll do for you, do half that many, and then have some left over next summer, and then we'll start our 2 cents. You can't start that till October of 18. Unless you're gonna go up 5 cents or something, then I don't know if we'll go back to let you go that.
I'm not sure we're gonna be able to do 3 cents, because it's 45
We will.
cents.
We'll be able to do 3 cents. I just don't know whether you get 5 cents. We'll be able to do 3 cents. I'm pretty sure. I'll know after tomorrow, because I'll know what we're going back to.
Well, we'll know more after we get hard figures. You supposed to meet with her Thursday?
Carl can get you close enough for this discussion right now.
close are we looking?
I'm saying 3 cents about.
About 3 cents,
I'm sure
okay.
you can go over 3 cents, but none of that leaves any money for these guys. These guys' money is the money we're pulling out of balance. It's okay to pull out, but you got to follow it up with some raises later on, some 2 cent increases later on, give you the rest of the money, because you're not going to have it more. You can't keep this in here, this is back.
Roger, in asking for this additional 1.271 million, were you planning on that being available to you or hoping that being available to you in addition to that $700,000?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought that 700,000 was going to be available to spend to the end of this year.
It is.
Yeah. And that's what I was saying all along about, that I've talked to you about 2 or 3 times, is that 300,000, and I'm not saying we didn't need the equipment, but that 300,000 would have been 300 more to put into, you know, and like I say, we probably needed the equipment or some of it anyway, but that 300,000, I was planning on taking that 250,000 that was going to be my part and going out and fixing my roads where next year I could start seal coating, and was hoping that we would have more money in our budget to be able to do that. Is what I was looking at.
Right. So I was looking at spending that 700,000.
I understand.
Private roads that we could seal coat.
Yeah, I understand.
Was it the state with the seal code anything after September 5th?
September 1st.
So
When it started dropping below 70 degrees at night, and then it stopped sealing.
So you
It was below 70 degrees this morning.
September the 1st, you don't seal coat it. Well, you got some roads he can work on and stuff, but that coal mix,
Right.
that a lot of these roads they don't have holes big as trucks, but a lot of them do.
No, but there's also some money still left in the original budget.
Right.
You haven't been able to do a whole lot of road work this year because of the rain and equipment and everything else. So at least that's what I'm gathering from talking to you. I guess I just wanted to anticipate. I said, well, I guess we'll do it like next summer because I'm not going to have time to get to it this summer.
I'll still got all of September.
But I don't have any other money to give you.
Okay, so once again, Roger was planning on spending the balance of that $1 million, or about $700,000, in addition to this budget increase request of $1.271 million to begin this 15-year plan. And so Carl has told you that we know we've got 3 cents already spoken for. If you're going to do anything, any part of this 1.271 million, it would have to come either in further reductions to fund balance or further increases in tax rate. So knowing that, Commissioner Riddle, I'm assuming that you would not be in favor of funding any of this 1.271 million.
Next year. Long term, he wants to, maybe not next year. Unless you want to go up some more on the tax rate.
We can't use that 700,000.
Well, he says he's going to use it next month.
Now, we'll probably use the next 2 months.
So I'm not going to have it next summer. We're talking about the next summer.
What would $500,000 do? How would that raise the tax?
2 cents.
2 cents?
It's
A little more.
We're 2 big valuation, so we get 200,000 for every penny.
About 220,000.
You wouldn't quite get, you get like 440 or 400. You get 5.
What do you don't spend of the 7? Can you add that in there?
I was hoping that You're not going to slow down to it, though.
But again, his plans, he's already got in his mind finishing off that $700,000.
Plus what's left in the budget too, the way I'm understanding.
That's right.
As much of what's left in the budget right now, plus the 700, so that's gonna leave it nothing.
Yeah. And so if you're going to fund any of this 1.271 that he's presented to you here, there isn't any available money to do that. It's going to come in the form of additional tax increase or further reduction to your fund balance. And Carl's told you that after the $700,000 is spent, you know, we're getting down there into the low fours, low 4 million, right?
I think it's going to be closer to 3.5.
After the 700, will it be that low?
Yeah, so maybe 3.8.
I was thinking close to 4.
Might come in a little better than what it was, and we might not, we never spend all the money in the sheriff's department, but almost every department spends all the money. I may have 150 left in contingency. I might have that.
So,
But remember this, we spent all the money already, but the fire contract did not wait till October 1st to start. Paying extra money on the fire contract now.
that's right.
So that's part of some of the balance I have. If we didn't have any, I mean, I don't do that, except that I took it out of my balance. I didn't take it out of my contingency because it was a emergency, qualified as an emergency, so I took it out of my balance. So that's coming out of my balance. Basically, 300,000 for the election, but it came out of my balance. And dollars.
You said reducing the interest on the bonds was about 2 points?
I think it's going to save us $100,000.
But it's not going to be usable for, you know, for.
No, but it does allow.
But if you, okay, if you lower, I don't think we're going to see that this next year. I don't think we'll realize those
I don't think we
savings.
see it until April.
That's right.
It actually goes down about 300. The number I looked at, they're not going down like 2.1, this is 2.5. I think our.
But how much of that will we actually benefit?
2.5. We're putting it 2.5. I think it's going to go to 2.1. That's 2 cents.
But they're not even callable till, is it summer of 18?
I think it's February.
Okay, February 18.
The amortization schedule they gave me, the other day, I was working with, I think.
But you don't get,
2.2, 2.1, something like that, so it goes down $200,000-300,000. That'll give you, I don't think that goes down until next, not becoming here, but the next year.
That's right.
And so that'll go down some. And that's at the time when you're looking at going up 2 cents, and so you may be able to offset those, but you really don't have to raise.
Well, I just figured if we paid off those bonds in the spring of 18, the new bond payment in the fall of 18 is where you'd see the reduction. That's what I was thinking. So I didn't see us having a full year's worth of benefit in this budget year.
No, I think it'll be the next year.
Yeah, it's gonna be 19 before.
It'll be the 18, 19.
In other words, let's don't count on that money for
But
this
you'll have that, but
budget.
you will have that, when that's the year you're gonna go up 2 more cents, and you
May not have to because of that, yeah.
You'll go up 2 cents in an O, but you'll go down 2 cents in the INS, and they'll all raise 2 cents.
well,
It just doesn't help us this year, this next year.
whatever we do, it's not gonna help this year, but the end of the payout,
You know, I can pull another 500,000 out, but where they had $1 million to spend this year, you won't have the 500 extra to spend next year. So if you do a whole bunch of roads this year, you're not going to be able to do that many roads next year. If we give $1 million this year, you give 500 next year, that's half. But then the next year, you'll be able to give them back up to $1 million, but that's 2 cents to get you 400,000. So, well, you'll probably get the same thing for a while. You might give them 3 cents to 2 cents separate. Let's do it the IRS. When you do that. That'll give them 6 cents.
Well, now you've got to decide how much, if any, of this 1.271 million that you want to give to Roger.
Well, I think we're gonna have to wait on that, to decide. We need, on this lawsuit, and it's supposed to be August 11th.
I don't know, you're talking about the one.
It's scheduled for mediation in the next 3 months, yes. Will that get postponed again? I don't know.
Probably.
But let's don't count our chickens. Yeah. What are y'all thinking? You're awful quiet down there.
The only thing I can see that we can do is like Carl said, the 500 out of fund balance. And I hate to take any more out of it, but I really don't want to. But that's going to leave them with back at where they're at, and that, I feel like from what you said that you had heard, that that's going to be the overall consensus anyway.
One person. I don't know beyond that.
Well, I've had a few tell me that too, so. Not very many, but there's been one or two that have said that, so.
But if you start out just doing the main roads anyway, I think they would probably appreciate that. No, nobody's going to appreciate the tax increase.
No,
Somebody
no,
else will pay
no.
for it. But I do think they'll appreciate the roads being fixed. The first roads that will be fixed, the first 5 or 6 years are all going to be roads.
How many roads
It's
are
a
you
slow
on?
process, Robert. That's what I'm telling you. I'll give you 700 this year, I can give you 500 next year, I can give you 600 next year, next year we'll give you 800, next year we'll give you 1, whatever it's going to take. A while to get there. You just have to do as many miles as you can before it's done.
If you give them 500,000 out of fund balance, that's a one-time deal.
That's it.
Next year, you gotta raise it 2.5 cents to achieve that 500.
That's right.
That's what I was telling you initially. You either got to be committed to this plan or not do it. Because if you can't fund it out of fund balance, you can fund it short term out of fund balance, then you get your rate up there. But you have to be committed to getting your rate up there.
And I think the rate's got to go up. I mean, it's been down here long enough that it's gotten the shape that it's in. The roads have, so I think we've got to commit to.
Finish what you're saying.
I think we've got to commit to going on.
They're prepared to
long term.
To spend
It's something that
At some level, maybe not this level, but at some level.
Yes, yeah.
How much? Not this much. Not $1 million too.
And with us already what we're having to spend that we know we've got to spend this year, maybe we ought to just leave it as is, and even not even you, I wasn't real crazy about the idea of pulling the $1 million out of fund balance. I'd like to have something back there in case something major happens that you've got to have some money for. And
Well, again, the philosophy there was it was abnormally high due to the loop construction, and now we can.
And that's the only reason that I voted for it was because of that it was, way more than I, thought that it needed to be, and we needed it for the roads, so that's the reason that I voted for it.
tell you, these are my thoughts. And Roger, as much as I believe in what you're doing here, and as much as I believe that this is the figure that it's going to take to accomplish what you're wanting, the fact that we've gotten this hit here by the fire department this year, I just don't think we can take these huge leaps in our tax rate. And although I'm a long-term believer in this, I just personally feel like we've got to delay it a while. Am I willing to take some money? Jimmy mentioned $500,000 out of fund balance to help. Yes, I am, based on what the final outcome of our fund balance is, but I wouldn't do more than $500,000. So again, I'm making that decision here based on my unwillingness to increase the tax rate any more than I can. I'm not making it based on my lack of belief in what you're doing here.
But you're willing, Jimmy's willing to, if you're going to put the $500,000 out of fund balance next year, the next year you're willing to give it 2 cents.
Commit to that.
Yes.
That's what I say, yeah.
Give me money for the next year, and the next year, and the next year.
Putting words in my mouth now. I'm saying I do believe in long-term improvement and additional money spending in our road and bridge department. I do believe in that.
Well, I do think that's important. I don't think there's anyone going down this road if you're not. You just pass it. If you just take it up on that.
And if it's less than this 1.2 million down the road, then that means we're going to have to, as a court, prioritize those 430,000 miles and tell some sorry and tell others we can work on your road.
That's a few more miles.
430 miles.
What'd I say?
430,000.
430,000.
You had me out there that had a heart attack.
430 miles, yeah. But I don't think there's anybody up here that disagrees with Roger's numbers. Correct me if I'm wrong. Based on 430 miles in the county.
Let me tell you something else. If we had to figure in bridges, what if we've not done all these bridges back in the 90s and 2000s and stuff? 32 bridges completed in Titus County, 30 out in the county, and 2 were out in the county and got transferred to the city. And you were a big part of that program.
Yeah, we got 2 more to go, maybe 3 if we get the third one.
Most counties have done 1, 2, 3 bridges. We've done all ours except just a few.
Kent County getting into a lot of trouble down there with theirs, they're replacing them with some big culverts and all the big culverts and rusting out the bottom and they'll classify as bridges.
Yeah. You got to go with the guidelines or they won't let you come back in and put a bridge in. You put that big cover.
But on this wages deal, it's it's like 7,300 extra on this wages. Is that for all your guys or just on your road and bridge top part on your wages? How can you?
Where are you saying?
The top road bridge, the extra salary.
Other wages.
Then you got a 16,000 mileage reimbursement.
Yeah, that's just a guess. I don't know how much that's.
All the gas for the whole county.
What was that for?
No, that's for me.
$16,000.
For what now? For you?
Mileage reimbursement. I was just looking at the figures y'all used in the past.
That's what y'all had budgeted last year. We didn't know what to do with it. I mean, we didn't know exactly what, so we just left it in there. It may be less than that. But since he hasn't been here before, we didn't know exactly what kind of.
Yeah.
You're not.
I didn't either, so.
County truck around, anything you're driving your vehicle?
Both.
And you think that the give whoever's $5 an hour more, how's the other guys going to set with not getting a raise this year?
That's probably not going to make it.
That part y'all decide what you're going to get a raise. already had to put on, whether we give it to them or not, we have to put $25 an hour. But it would have to, before that guy got that raise, you would have to sign on, whether it's Jerry or anybody else. Assuming, and again, I don't know this, for the individual, or all these numbers, if you're going to want to give the other employees the raise, put all those numbers in my budget. But you pretty much agreed to do the sheriffs, doing the sheriffs numbers, except the raise. That's the consensus I got.
You got a lot to digest. You want to keep going? You want to take lunch break, come back? You want to meet back up tomorrow? What would you like to do?
Well, I don't think we're going to set the budget today or anything like this.
I just need to, I need to, when I come back. I'm going, I didn't tell him today, but I don't know.
Remember that we've got to propose a tax rate either in 2 weeks or in 4 weeks. So just plan on essentially what it was this year. If you're going to add 3, if you're going to add more.
When are we supposed to have our public hearings?
Well, the way you're working is, I didn't remember if it was a 14th meeting or the 28th meeting, we'll have to propose a tax rate.
Okay.
And then we will have 2 tax hearings in September, and 1 budget hearing in September. And then on the last meeting in September, we will vote on the tax rate. Now, the budget is in the clerk's office on August 31st. It's proposed, but it's proposed.
Yeah, I understand.
Generally, what we know is, but
Anything can be changed anytime.
anything can be changed anytime right up to that meeting on last Monday in September. So we will have a whole.
Has anybody-
And I can't remember if we have to do that on the 14th, or we have to do that on tomorrow.
Can y'all meet back up here in the morning next minute?
I can.
I can't. Can you say you could do it? Can you meet up here
Recess
in the
until
morning
9
at
in the morning.
I'm not busy.
Said he wasn't busy, so just adjourn and come back in the morning.
Recess, no adjourn.
Yeah, reset.
Wherever y'all want.
Yes, you can be here if we tell you to, won't you?
Well, do you want to let Roger work and us visit about this, call him back if we need
That's
to?
fine with me. We know what he wants.
Y'all don't need husband.
We don't need, yeah.
I just need to know how much money I can spend the rest of the year.
We don't need anybody but you,
Y'all
Carl.
gonna let it
Right.
700,000.
You didn't hear me.
Hey, that's entirely up to him, knowing the discussion that he's heard today. If he wants to spend it all the rest of this year, it's in the budget. That's kind of what I told him about the 300,000. It's there.
Yeah, I'm just assuming you didn't have time to spend it all. But you do, if you want to spend it, you need to learn to be a little more of a politician. Do a whole lot this year. They're going to expect you to do just as much next summer. Is that not right?
That's right.
So,
Or more.
no, I don't know if I would, do 700,000.
That ain't happening.
If you spoil them.
Well, we're going to live balance this year.
Well, Roger, with that coal mix, you could work that stuff on up in October, maybe 1st of November.
It's many times, I wouldn't spend about $400,000 or $500,000. I'd spend $400,000 this year, and I'd carry the rest over next year so that you.
As long as you don't cut it out and carry it over, it's fine.
Oh, you get carried over, this is the state.
Everything carries over. Everything
You
carries
can
over.
hit that deadline.
I know that, like I said, it's in the state. You don't lose it, you don't.
We're not the state. We don't get it back.
It carries over in the back.
Okay. Ours did ever.
I know what
2
y'all.
years and quit. You couldn't carry over nothing and make it 2 years.
We can hear them.
Carl,
All the kids
they don't have to be
don't
here, but
work
you
about
do. We need you here. 9 o'clock.
I mean, you already know, I just gotta decide what you.
Well, you going on vacation next week?
No, but I gotta order something. I gotta go back.
I'm just checking with Carl.
Maybe if we need to, we'll regather Wednesday morning. What time are your meetings?
This is the first. Yeah, this is the first.
Be the first meeting.
Okay, well, let's start with the meeting tomorrow, and just
I
five
will definitely let y'all know either tomorrow afternoon or Wednesday morning what the effect of all that is. That's what we'll do.
minutes. Okay. Before our meeting in the morning?
No.
I mean, we're at 1:30 tomorrow.
We meet tomorrow, not today.
Can y'all call us, just tell us what the rate is?
What? I can't hear what you said.
He's not meeting with.
He's not meeting, we're not meeting with the
appraisal district till tomorrow.
Tomorrow afternoon.
Well, that's what I'm saying, can y'all call us and just let us know what the rate will be?
Yeah, he'll let us know.
I'll let you know what the effective rollback rates are.
Right.
So
That's what I'm calling.
maybe we'll meet again at 9 o'clock on Wednesday
So we'll
also.
know.
That's right.
Yeah.
We can do that. I can get it to you.
Tomorrow, I think we discuss how much we can stomach in the way of tax increase, how much we can stomach taking out of